All right, we are going. Episode 259. Things look a little different. Hopefully, for those of you listening and watching, it doesn't sound too different, doesn't look too different, but we are trying some new things here at Current Gen headquarters. And we are,
Yes.
just trying to mix it up our game. And also, I do want to make things a little more interactive as we talk about games. Last few episodes, we've brought up some B-roll, which we'll do again today. Like, hey, here's a game that's coming out, but actually look at it together. Maybe react to trailers together or Nintendo Directs or whatever's happening. So trying to up our game in that field. But I'll tell you what, it makes you appreciate people who do this for a living because it's very complicated to get all these connections correct.
Just hearing I'll throw around jargon terms like that, I'm like, I don't know what any of this stuff
I don't know
is.
what you're saying. Yeah, a lot of it is audio related. The video is surprisingly the simplest part of getting all this done, like getting the different video feeds, because there's one webcam for everybody. You can usually figure out a way to make sure you're sharing your webcams with each other, and then boom, you're good. It's the audio that creates the most headache. And Dan, you've been saying this for a long time, where it's like, yep, here comes the weird monitor feedback loop thing that you're hearing you're not supposed to, and oh, looks like we didn't record audio the entire time or whatever. So hopefully
sometimes settings just reset themselves and you're like, shit, where'd the audio go?
Like a Bluetooth kicks on in the room and just acts like an EMP to everything, you know?
That's exactly it.
You never know what's going to happen.
Or maybe someone plugged in a headphone jack just trying to hear something one time, and that just changed the entire audio feed of everything you had going. So anyway, those are all the fun things that I'm sure many of you have also dealt with. But we're here to talk about video games, not boring tech AV stuff. No one wants to talk about that.
Oh, man.
We're going to talk about some new games that are out this week. We are in the thick of it, man. I feel like we are starting to hit that stride of every week or two, some kind of major game comes out, and it's like, how am I going to have time to play? So we're in it. I think 2025 is starting to really hit. January was pretty light. There was some cool stuff in January, but it was relatively light. And now February is like, oh,
it was barely a warm-up month, and now we're like the engine's on and roaring. Like we didn't. It was a cold start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It is going. Yeah, the windows have defrosted. We can see now.
We're barreling towards the year.
And I don't know which way to go. There's too many roads in front of me. Yeah, there's a lot. We can keep going with this metaphor all episode. If you guys want.
That's actually the whole episode.
And I'm still back in town. I'm still back. You guys are moving forward. I'm still back in the town, like playing old stuff.
Like, is Dan driving in reverse? Like, what is he doing?
Where is he going?
What is Dan doing? Yeah, so a lot of exciting stuff. One of the things that we're going to really dive into next week when it's officially released, but I didn't expect it. But now this week, Avowed technically is accessible to those who bought the deluxe edition to get early access to it. So I know Kyle's been putting some time into it. And so I want to get your thoughts on that so far, Kyle. Then we'll talk about it more also next week. Civilization 7 is out. Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2 is out, and a few others. So we'll go through those. Also, there was a Sony State of Play that aired this past week, and there's a lot of really exciting news that came out of that thing. So we'll look at that as well. And then anything else we're playing. I've got a lot of thoughts on Kingdom Come Deliverance too that I'm going to bore you with.
You ain't boring me, buddy.
Yeah. So we'll get to that at the end. That way, if Dan slowly slides out of frame to go do something else, that's okay.
Yeah, right.
Listen, I want to play this game, but you know, again, I'm still back in town.
You're still back in town. You know,
it's a lot of game. I'll tell you that.
If you wanted to, you could always channel our old podcast buddy Derek and literally fall asleep while we're talking about something you're not playing. You could do that.
Yeah.
I still remember. I'm pretty sure Dan, at one point you asked me like, "Is Derek asleep?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like a long string of episodes where dude was just passing out.
He would just join on his phone. And he'd be like up real close to it with his eyes closed. What is going on?
Shirtless with a blanket.
I've never seen someone so comfortable.
Listen, so comfortable. So we're gonna try a little something. We're gonna try to share some game footage of recent games that are out, and we'll talk about these together. We'll kick it off with Sid Meier's Civilization. Is it 7? Yeah, 7. Dang, they made 7 of these. First of all, how many of these have you guys actually played, if any? How many of these Civ games have you guys played?
0. But I used to watch my friend play them all the time because I think they're fascinating games. I just don't know how to play them. So
yeah,
I played the mobile one. What was the mobile one called?
I don't remember.
Revolution?
It was actually solid.
Yeah. That's the one that
it actually was solid. Yeah.
It
wasn't bad.
I know they're great. It's a great series, It's been around forever for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, if you're
PC
watching
one.
the YouTube trailer, which we're watching here right now, in the top they're like, "Get the game," which is smart. Have a little "Get the game" link pop up in the top. But yeah, I mean, this game, I've heard that they streamlined some things while maintaining what makes the Civilization games great. It still has that hex grid formula to things, and still that turn-based strategy thing where you can kind of win a number of different ways. I have tried on a couple different iterations to get into it, and I would blame myself that I haven't really truly given it the time it deserves to get into the groove of what Civ is offering, you know? So I don't think it's a Civilization problem. This game is a classic for a reason. I think it's a Tim problem that isn't taking the proper time
Well, it's
to
just
play
a
it.
beefy game. I mean, there's a lot going on. You know?
It is beefy, but I know a lot of people are able to pick it up within a few hours and really roll with it. It's not overly complex like a Crusader Kings 3. You just have to be in the right mood to want to play it, you know. But it does look fun.
Yeah.
This looks like a lot of fun. So
any
I love
idea
me
why
some-
it's getting like bad user reviews? I know the reviews are
Not
all right,
sure.
but like, yeah, what's up with the bad user reviews? I was just checking those, and I
Steam?
think
I was listening to was it Last Stand, and they were mentioning something about, I think 6 was like more complex than this one, and like the hardcore fans are kind of like annoyed by that. They like overly simplified some things, maybe, or something like that. I don't know if that's the only reason or one of the reasons, but yeah, they were mentioning that. So
let's see. A lot. Yeah, it's like 51% positive on Steam. That's not great.
yeah, I think the Open Critic was like 30 out of 100. That's not right. I think I'm just looking at Noob Feed or whatever. But yeah, like the Metacritic was like weird. It was like 80% on Metacritic and like 3.9 user review, like on for the users or whatever.
And
it's just
some
weird.
of it's performance, but most of it seems to be they just don't like the core of what the game is, like how it's made changes. And
Yeah.
I even see some comments
Yeah.
about what appear to be potentially predatory, like DLC or buy this
It's
add-on.
never fun.
Which I don't know if that's true, but
Okay.
that's what some of the user
Yeah.
reviews are saying. So
Well, you know, I like the trailers.
Yeah.
I thought the trailers, like the
Yeah,
last couple
look nice.
seasons, the trailers were
Look
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, this trailer
Looks
looks
Always,
good
nice.
too.
they're always kind of epic, and I think the last one or the first one when it introduced the game was like a diorama or something like that. Like they always have a cool way of like releasing.
Yeah.
They're announcing their games, but yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
speaking of
Seems like-
trailers, this Trails Through Daybreak 2 trailer looks pretty cool too.
I know I'm so mad that I'm not playing this right now.
How are you going to have time to play this? How?
I still have to beat the first one. I'm like halfway through that game. I have to double back and beat it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not getting as good reviews as the first game, but
Yeah.
they are saying it's a weird but interesting stop in this journey, and I'm just like, okay.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes weird is good. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah. I hear the
Wonder what
combat
they mean.
system is like somehow like remember that's the thing I was like hemming and hawing about. Like,
Yeah, that's
with
right.
the first game, I hear that it's much better in this game, and I'm
Okay.
like, well, great, I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah, hope it's good.
So that came out this week. So did Tomb Raider 4 through 6 Remastered is out now.
Did they announce that previously, or was this just shadow dropped?
They did. I just don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
And they might have announced the release date too. It just feels like the timing is interesting. You would think, early in the year would be a great time to release something like this because nothing else is out. But
Sure.
it's just not the case right now. There's a lot of other
Last
things.
month maybe, but you
Yeah,
know.
last month. Yeah, I could have snuck it in January.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it still has an old school look, clearly like cleaned up, right? Sharper.
Yeah.
But
Well, these are the PS2 ones, right?
I think so.
4
yeah.
through 6, I don't know.
Yeah, I believe these are the PS2 ones.
Okay.
Which I don't know the legacy enough to know if those were like ones that people liked and stuff like that. But
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, people who are big Tomb Raider fans are eating good. It's 4 games or 3 games or whatever. So
Yeah. So that
6 if you're
drops
including
this
the other
week.
3, right?
So did this
Yeah,
game called Guns of Fury. This game looks
this
like
is cool.
yeah,
I haven't seen this.
kind of like a little Metal Slug looking thing, right?
This is cool.
Yeah, this looks fun. It's called Guns of Fury. It's got very positive reviews on Steam. You even get in a mech. Look at that. That looks
Alright,
fun.
I'm putting this
Oh yeah.
on my wish
Oh yeah, I heard
list
that there's
right now.
Metroidvania elements to it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everything needs Metroidvania and roguelike. Those are the rules, guys.
But even like the little slide,
girl.
look at this little gun that he gets on. That looks fun.
Yeah,
man.
little turret. He's like in a look at this guy.
Big boss
you
fight.
are so getting bought. Oh my goodness.
Get bought.
How much
bro.
is it, Kyle? right now?
$12.89 right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
That's a no-brainer.
you're getting picked up, buddy.
You're getting
It's on like
$12.89.
a 14%. It's usually 15. It's on like a
All
slight
right.
sale right
Stuff
now.
like this I love. I got to go back real quick. Like this little slide to the secret through this log. I love
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
this. Like
Me too. Yeah, that's so fun.
nice little touch. Dude, this is great. You're like literally a one-man army. You even have the Rambo bandana on.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
There's like
I'm all
different
in.
mech things that he's jumping into.
Yeah, I'm all in with this Guns of Fury game. So yeah, looking forward to playing that one.
Guns of Fury.
Kyle, this was announced during the State of Play, but it's out now, so it's worth highlighting. Warriors Abyss.
Speaking of things that need roguelike takes, I was just thinking to myself the other day. I was like, you know what the Muso series needs? A roguelike game. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
Honest, but honestly, I don't know anything about this game other than like it kind of looks like Hades, like
Yeah.
Right.
But with some Muso-esque like
with
enemy
some-
swarms
yeah,
coming at
exactly.
you, right?
It's very with some
Like,
Muso
look at that.
enemy swarms. Yeah,
That's kind of
it
cool.
looks cool. I might catch this on a sale or something like that. I don't know what it's like long term game. I'll have to look at some reviews and some takes on this because it did interest me. I was like, this is they just came out with a game, like this
It's
is
a
like
surprise
the
release.
Prince of Persia effect
no one-
last year where
yeah.
they put out like 2 Persias and the span of a couple months, and we're getting
That's
something
right.
like that again.
Yeah, they're busy.
Yeah, I had no idea this even existed. Very rarely does this happen, where a game is announced and then boom, it releases.
Yeah.
I think Hi-Fi Rush
Always
did
fun.
that to us a couple
Yeah.
years ago, where it's like, what? It's out?
Y'all kept that a
The
secret.
best, man.
Yeah.
Just dropping that game just like that.
It's pretty
The
cool.
best.
So, Warriors Abyss is out. There's this game out called Mind Over Magic. It's published by Klei Entertainment, Klei. They've done stuff like Mark of the Ninja and other games.
Ooh, I love Mark of the Ninja.
Me too. But this is it's a management game with a kind of a
Interesting.
magic university. So it looks kind of fun. It's got pretty decent reviews. I've got this one on my wish list. I do plan on trying it out at some point.
That's so cool.
But yeah, it looks pretty fun. It's that kind of cutaway management style, like Fallout Shelter style thing. But looks like there's some kind of
Oh, look at that
battling
combat
going on.
there. That was
Yeah.
interesting.
Train your students for the deadly underschool. That doesn't sound good. Never go to the underschool.
Probably scary. Yeah, look at that big old worm.
So it's out now. You guys can check this one out. Clyde they publish good games. They make good games like Mark of the Ninja, but they also publish some really cool games like
cool.
this one. So yeah, very, very. It might be Clay. I'm not sure how to say it, to be honest with you. Anyway, there's that one. Mind Over Magic. Another kind of interesting sim game. It's called The Executive Movie Industry Tycoon.
Okay.
Dude, hell, all right. Yeah, I love
this-
these types of games.
This just dropped, and you pick your budget size. You pick your genre. I'm assuming you
Okay.
unlock genres for your movies
All right.
over time. You name it. It almost reminds me of the Game Dev Tycoon, where you're trying to make money off
Yeah,
of the games.
yeah,
and
yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's
yeah.
the same team.
It says Goblins Publishing. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll say it at the end. We can.
Is
do
this
this
part of
after.
like are all of the tycoons part of one
I don't think
series?
so.
Yeah, I feel like that word just started getting used in like
Yeah.
I always thought that was like one singular like.
I used to think
dev.
that too. hmm
Well, there's those pixel ones, which like game dev story. The ones that end in story is Kairosoft.
Okay, I did play Game Dev
that's-
Story.
Oh,
like,
look at
when
this.
it
You
was
even have to
on
like
Google.
figure out public responses to stuff, like the budget's getting out of hand and things like that. You have to figure out how you're going to respond
Okay,
publicly
see,
to it.
I wish I.
What's this one called?
I wish I knew how to play.
So this is called The Executive Movie Industry Tycoon. The Executive Movie Industry Tycoon.
You ever wanted to be a corpo who makes movies? Here you go.
Yeah, I'll bring up the title screen here at the end.
Everyone
Yeah.
loves it when the executive is on the stage.
So yeah, it's by Aniki Games. Never heard of them. Not sure
Yeah,
what else
Game
they're
Dev
doing.
Tycoon. Yep, it's the same guys.
Is
Oh,
it?
okay.
There you go. The Executive. So that's pretty cool. I thought that one looked neat.
That does look really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And last but not least, another really cool game that's called Reality Break, where you're in space. It's a isometric shoot 'em up. Looks pretty fun. After playing stuff like Mini Shoot Adventure, I kind of want to give this one a try. Plus the visuals look real sharp. And I don't know. I know that you two aren't seeing the most sharp version of it, so go check out the trailer. But hopefully, those of you who are watching, listening to this, you can see the visuals on this are really. I don't know. It looks really nice. Lots of colors, lots of explosions.
There's a lot going on in the
fireworks.
background.
Yeah.
A lot of upgrades you do. Like this looks like a game that I would try. Like I don't know, maybe, and then get super hooked on for like
Yeah,
a couple
yeah.
weeks. Yeah, It's a reality break.
So it's like something that would be like Resogun, and then Colin would be like, "This is still the best game out of all the games."
Greatest game.
That's
of
what this looks like.
2025.
That's absolutely what he would say. What he would say. It's from Element Games. I'm not sure if they've made anything else or not. So.
Bet they're in their element making this.
Oh, well done. Well done. Kyle liked it. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. And let's talk about Avowed, though. I don't really have B-roll for that. We can pull up some of that for next week. But so those are all the new games. I don't think any of us are playing any of those. Those officially released this week to the general public, or in some cases early access. But Avowed is also available to play for those who bought the deluxe edition, which Kyle did. He's a real Bethesda fan, or Obsidian fan.
Yeah, but I'm here because it's a Bethesda-like game. Yeah,
Fair.
So you're not wrong. Yeah.
Okay, so I was wrong, but not totally wrong. I get it.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your experience with Avowed. I have heard. Okay, first let me just tell you what I've heard from the outside, and Dan, you can corroborate if you're hearing the same things I am, which are generally positive, with some kind of like it's kind of mid from some, but for the most part, I'm getting pretty positive vibes, and from folks who I care about their opinions, they seem to really be enjoying it, saying that there's a lot of depth to it. The combat's really fun, and maybe it's a good thing that it's not this 150-hour experience. But
it's
anyway,
always good. Always a good thing.
It's always a good thing. So, Dan, is that kind of what you're hearing too? Like generally good, not like game of the year instant reaction.
And also another one of those dumb things of like some people being offended about certain, elements. You know what I'm talking about. So, which is like, I don't even know in this game because you can create a character like, and it look kind of flamboyant maybe. Like I don't even. So whatever. Anyways,
I can't begin to see what they're talking about there, but
all the games are that. All games are that.
I don't know. That's just like that's the new thing, I guess. Yeah, this game's pretty dang good. Like I had some troubles sinking in the first couple hours, and I'm usually like the world building lore guy. I really am. Like if you want to throw a bunch of world building and lore at me, I am so here for it. This game has been, I'm like 4 hours in, 90% just people like spouting world lore at you. And it's a lot. So if you don't know anything about Pillars of Eternity, like they're trying to catch you up on all the lore of Pillars of Eternity in like the first like couple hours of this game. And everyone who's talking at you is like talking to you like an encyclopedia almost. And that doesn't make for the most engaging like storytelling. But I realize that like a lot of those options like to choose like when you're conversating are optional. So if like you're playing the game a second time or you do know a lot about Pillars of Eternity, you won't ask the question of like, what's Dreadfire or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you know what that is. I'm just going to ask you who you are or whatever. But if you click on that, like, what's this thing? And you might get a huge explanation or whatever. So I feel like on a second playthrough or again, it's someone who's coming back and playing it after playing Pillars of Eternity, like you might not have to like withstand all that type of data dumping. So it was kind of hard to sink into like what the story was and everything. Now I'm like a couple hours after that, like I kind of see what the story is going to be. It's giving me big Annihilation vibes, which is what we talked about with like the trailers. Annihilation being a sci-fi movie by Alex Garland that came out a few years ago. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time.
Natalie
it's very
Portman,
like, say again?
Was that Natalie Portman in that one?
Yeah, Natalie Portman. Yeah.
I still need to see that. I always wanted to watch that.
One of my favorite movies. It's probably in my top 10 of all time. I just love that movie so much. But it is like a very like something is going on in this area and it's causing like genetic mutations and like mutations or corruption of some sort. You're just trying to figure out what it is. And like Annihilation has a lot of like almost like, I don't know, like people kind of going crazy from being in an area for too long and they kind of start turning on each other. This game's kind of like that too. Like there's something going on, like this fungus is spreading or something like that. There's also like a helpful fungus that's like trying to help you fight so it's the bad fungus. So it's like there's this natural battle going on underneath like the world's surface that's happening, and like the people above, you know, are kind of like the pawns to kind of figure out what's going to happen to like the sanctity or the purity of the land or whatever. And that is interesting to me. I'm just interested to see more where it goes.
Is that where the name Avowed comes from? Like you are avowed to protect something?
Yeah. So like you're an envoy for the emperor, and like your job is to figure out what's going on with this thing called the Dream Scourge. And it's like people like, and again, this is just like Annihilation. Like people kind of will start going crazy, like lucid dreaming, and like just kind of start losing their minds, and we'll talk about like all this stuff that's going on in their dreams, and they just kind of lose it and start murdering each other, which is
Cool.
a very cool,
as you do.
Yeah. So that is pretty cool. Yeah. But like the real star here, like you were saying, is the combat. The combat is very good. I like it quite a bit. At first, it kind of just feels like, oh, you know, I have a sword and a shield. Like this just kind of feels like Skyrim or whatever. But then I don't know. There's the way that the controller is mapped out, where like you can do quick dodges, quick back steps, you know, some nice parrying and stuff like that if you have a shield. Maybe you don't want to play like a boring class like that. Like I quickly decided I didn't. Maybe you switch that shield out for a pistol. Now you're rocking like a pistol and a gun and a sword, you know? Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to get like a pistol and like a wand, or a wand and a grimoire. And like there are a lot of different combinations. A spear and a pistol, you know, like or maybe I just get a big hunting rifle that takes 2 hands, or a bow and arrow that takes 2 hands, or a giant claymore that takes 2 hands. There are so many variations, and everything plays so completely different than the other thing. And also it's really interesting if you look at like, there's just like 3 classes, if you will. There's Ranger, Wizard, and Warrior. And the Warrior and the Ranger is a very straightforward like skill tree. And then you can pop over to the Wizard, and it's like obviously the game wants you to play with magic. Like it is so detailed and so crazy, and there's so many variations and ways to go and stuff like that. It's just obvious that the game like was like, hey, we put a lot of our time.
Have you tried magic yet?
You know? Yeah, exactly. So it is cool how various.
What are you going with? What's your class?
I'm hopping around a lot right now. At this second, I'm rocking a sword and a pistol, and then and you can always have 2 like loadouts on hand. So you press Y to switch to your other loadout, which for me right now is a 2-handed musket, which just owns. I got this ability in the skill tree that slows down time when I do a charged up shot and I aim down sight or whatever, and it just like max pain slows down everything like to 25% or whatever. You can really pick off some really good shots there. It's cool, man. I do really like the combat quite a bit, and then as I got more accustomed to like the game world, I realized how nice the exploration was and stuff like that as well. Like it does kind of feel like when you're in the tutorial level, which lasts like an hour or so, you're like, oh my god, is this going to be like linear? Is this going to be like Dragon Age, not Inquisition, the one that just came out, Veilguard, where it's like you're kind of just walking down a hallway and there's a couple maybe various ways to go. I know they have those hub worlds too or whatever, but like that game is very linear, and I thought this was going to be like that. It's just not. You get dumped out into a giant area, very much like Outer Worlds.
I was just going to say you're describing Outer Worlds in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very, very. It is Outer Worlds with a fantasy setting. I just don't think it's as cheeky or fun as Outer Worlds. Like Outer Worlds is kind of like a space serial. Like you're like, I don't know, it's kind of fun. It's like Space Dandy, the anime, the video game. You know, it's
that's exactly what it is.
It's very like cool and colorful and fun and sassy. You know, this is playing it really serious. Like, you know, it feels serious.
The trailers looked more serious to me too, so that's
absolutely that's so I am enjoying it. I think I probably thought I was going to get swept off my feet a little more than I am right now, but I don't think that's like that doesn't like make me like the game less or anything like that. I just, you know, sometimes I'm just like really excited for something and something just doesn't hit exactly right, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is still really great though, you know. So I am enjoying it. I can't wait to put in more time. The entire time I was playing it, I was just thinking about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 though, so
which we'll talk more about shortly.
So I mean, you know, it is, you know, you brought up a really good point where it's just like there's 2 big, you know, first person, you know, RPGs kind of right now. And it's just like they're very, very,
with
very
elements
different.
of open areas at least, if not open world.
It is very good, you know, but like it's about to be free on Game Pass for everybody, or whatever. It's about to be free with a Game Pass subscription. I don't think people get mad.
It's about to be free with money you already paid.
It's about to be free with money you already paid. Oh, it's not free. I'm unsubscribing. Anyways, yeah. So wait till then, download it. I mean, I would say give it past the tutorial because like the tutorial did not blow my sock. I was like kind of like, Jeff really liked this game this much. Like I was kind of like, he was really liking something that I'm just not getting yet, and it got to that after a couple more hours. So a little slow to start. That's all. And again, just like if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by like all the lore, you don't really need to know all of it, you know, like it's nice, but like it's a lot and there's no way you're going to retain all of it. So one last thing, they do have that lore button though, so if someone brings up something, you're like, what the heck is that? You
I
just
love
hit
a good
X,
lore button.
a nice glossary right there, you know, so it's like it'll tell
Thank
you
you,
all
Final
the,
Fantasy 16.
all the jargon, all the
such a good
BS
feature.
and everything. Like a Dragon Ishin had this as well, you know, so it's like this is we're in a new era of like you know, giving us you know, world building and lore, you know, glossaries like in game without it being annoying, kind of like Final Fantasy 13 was. Yeah, that's a dig. Anyways, that's it.
Yeah.
Dan, are you going to give this one a whirl when it hits Game Pass?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
you're a
because
Skyrim fan. You're gonna like it. Like you're a Skyrim
Yeah.
fan. Like they are going for you, Dan. Like, you know, you are the target.
Yeah, 100%.
Audience. Yeah.
And I mean, I love Fallout 3, and then New Vegas, Obsidian did.
You
like
liked Outer Worlds,
I remember.
right?
Yeah, I did. I never finished it. I don't know if something else just distracted me. But I probably played a good like 30 hours of it. I just never went back to it for whatever reason. But but yeah, Obsidian, like, yeah, they make nice, beefy, you know, first person perspective, you know, RPGs.
Yeah, and it feels big, you know. Like I know, like, but Outer Worlds did too. Even though they're classified as like smaller games or whatever, there's something that still feels like full.
It's so relative though, isn't it? Like, like
sure.
when you're comparing it to Witcher 3 or like Tears of the Kingdom, just in sheer size of distances, you can, or Skyrim. Okay, maybe it's smaller than a lot of those. Maybe there's less to do. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I still feel like Outer Worlds, I explored a lot, did a lot of side stuff, and I know I left a huge amount of stuff.
Yeah, I honestly thought that they undersold because they're like, we're going for a smaller experience. When it came out, I go, this is not small. Like, this doesn't feel small. To
pretty
me,
epic
like,
experience, start to finish. I love the way that game wrapped up.
But I get what they mean. But, you know, it doesn't
comparatively.
It doesn't feel like I'm getting something light. You know, like
I'm hearing that for.
I
know we'll talk about it more in a little bit. I'm hearing that for Kingdom Come Deliverance too, as well, where it's like long game, not necessarily like the biggest map to explore and all that, but I already feel like there's a ton, you know?
Yeah, I still feel like I'm just in one corner of that map still of Kingdom Come Deliverance, so it's like I can't. When people are like, this game's 100 hours, I go, yeah, I can see that.
At least 100, right? At least.
Yeah.
So this is a mug my parents got me from my hometown of Cedarville, Ohio. It's got all these like little landmarks of our little farm town. But my wife just brought me a homemade latte, so I get my coffee delivery.
A latte in the evening? That's nice. That's very European of you.
It is very European of you.
It's only 8 p.m. I got time. It's fine.
Yeah, I got time. Yeah. I'll be a little jacked up till midnight, but, you know.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, I am... Okay, so here's the weird thing. I thought Avowed would be like the game that I'll give it a try. I'm actually really going to give it a legitimate chance. And I'm not saying I'm not anymore. This is how I was looking at it as I looked at the games coming out this year. And it might hook me and at least take me through Monster Hunter Wilds and a few other things. But like, I'm going to give it a try. Unfortunately, another first-person RPG, which is not my favorite perspective for these kind of games. It's just not. I'm totally captured by a different one. So it's going to be tough, I think, for me to pivot, but we'll see.
You can play Avowed and pop yourself out in the third person, and then it's a completely different game.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. How does it control in third person, by the way?
I am not the guy to talk about that. I know a lot of people who play Fallout and Skyrim in third person.
Right.
I think that sucks. I think
I think
the animation looks awful.
It does.
Like, it just feels like that to me. You know, so it's like it is not my. When you don't make a game for third person, it's like, I'm just gonna pop it out real quick. You know, I think it's never felt good. But that's just my take. Yeah.
I think we're on the same page with that. Then, if you feel that way about like Fallout and Skyrim,
like I like to pop out and like look at myself. Like when I'm gonna walk through town, I'm gonna pop myself out in the third person. That's the other thing is there are some like stiff, cheap animations. Like and like when you when your hands come out, like they like both pop out at the same. there's like no, you know what I mean? There's no like physics to them. Like they just kind of pop, and they look like arms on sticks
Wise
in
guy.
front of a camera. You know.
Jesus.
But you kind of
That's pretty
get
great
that,
though.
You kind
It's
of
almost like a VR thing, you know, when you see your hands in VR. And
oh my god, it does kind of look
what
like
you're
that,
describing makes me think of a VR experience.
But you kind of see that in the trailers and the
Yeah.
gameplay too. Like there is like a little bit of a I don't know.
This is gonna sound mean, and I don't mean it to sound mean. It didn't look to me like it's gonna win the best visual awards. Like even from when they first revealed
there's
it.
some really cool.
It's more style,
art
right?
Direction. Yeah, there's
but I,
really cool.
I want it to be really clear. I'm fine with that. Like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, same boat. It's got some cool stuff, but it's got some hiccups with the visuals that aren't quite up to snuff in some areas. That does not take away my experience if the game is fun.
No,
it's just not going to win that category for me.
It's
not
going to win a fidelity statue.
Yeah,
absolutely not. Yeah, but no, it is a cool looking. Well, like everything feels so alien, and like where you're hanging out in Avowed is like called the Savage Lands or the Wild. I don't remember, man. There's so much lore in this game. The Wild Lands or whatever. It's the Promised Lands. I don't know, but like it is a place where like everyone goes when they're like on the run or a fugitive or a criminal or they want a new start or whatever, and they don't like civilization, so they just want to live somewhere a little more lawless. And it's just like it's a little crazier. It's a little alien. Kind of feels a little. It's more Morrowind than Cyrodiil, if that makes sense, you know, where it
does to some people,
giant,
not to me.
You know, like imagine giant, like, statue trees instead of like, pine, like it's just a little more alien looking than a classic, like fantasy vibe. So, which I like, I think that's a major positive. So
nice. All right. Well, I'm going to give that one a try next week. I am looking forward to it. It's unfortunate the timing, and I mentioned this in the chat. I think I'll probably give some space before I really play it a lot, just based on the games that are coming out. But as of right now, unless things change dramatically, there does look to be a few openings in the summertime where I can play some stuff like this. So we'll see. For now. Although August has 2 major games hitting at the end of it. I don't know. We'll talk about those. Yeah, it's the late summer, early fall schedule starting to get a little busy. All right. So Avowed is technically not out for everybody, but it is available if you want to get the deluxe edition.
It's only like $20 or $22 or something like that.
But by the time this episode is out, just wait till tomorrow. It'll be on Game Pass.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying it.
It's a good time.
All right. Let's talk about some other headlines before we get into things like what we're playing and all that kind of stuff. So Elden Ring, best game of 2022. Elden Ring Night Rain had a closed network test over this weekend, and it was a disaster. So,
was it really? I didn't hear this.
I don't think the game is a problem. I think people are. I think the way the game was pitched is exactly what the game is, right? People have an understanding it's a different experience, right? But the servers, like the network, was a mess. Okay. So they had to just close it down to repair them and fix it up. So I actually haven't checked since then.
So I guess From Software doesn't know how to have servers where you don't have to have 17 passwords and dumb glyphs on the ground without connecting 2 games. They're like, we don't know how to.
You have to use this.
They're gonna just start in a game together. How do you do that?
You didn't get a skinless finger. Why? Why can't it just be called something normal? What is wrong with you?
I'm standing wherever you said you put the glyph, and I put the password in. That's my whole experience with Elden Ring, which is not the game's fault. My friends are kind of dumb. Just us screaming at each other like, I am by the barrel. I'm right by the barrel.
Dude, that is so funny. I played 0% of that game multiplayer, so all I know that game as is this massive, amazing single-player action adventure, whatever. Yeah. So, anyway, but apparently Night Rain did have some issues. It part of the announcement for this closed network test was that the release date was revealed for May 30th. It's going to be hitting pretty much every platform except for the Switch, because I don't think Switch can handle any of the Elden Ring stuff. I wonder, too, how FromSoft's re-release their remasters on Switch, like Dark Souls. I wonder how those have done. I'm not sure if those have done numbers at all. But
I mean, people love the Souls games. I feel like they probably did respectively.
There are probably a good number of people on Switch that just buy everything that gets ported over to the Switch, too. So I'm sure it sold some. But I think the definitive version is considered to be Dark Souls. Is it Dark Souls Remastered or Dark Souls? There was some version that everyone considers to be the new definitive version, and it's mostly on the a PC or new console.
Yeah, because they did remaster it, right? Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the thing. I don't know if it's. I would imagine it's fixed up by now. Here we are halfway through the weekend, and I haven't seen much more news about it. So I imagine it was just that first day was a mess.
Yeah, and I mean that's not a surprise, you know.
That happens
Especially
even
with it being
even
a
when teams
test.
are really prepared and have lots of experience with that stuff. It can happen.
100%.
Keep an eye on that Nintendo, who thinks that we got this whole like demand for our new system under control. Like, I don't think you do. You got to figure out.
I don't think they know what. I don't know.
No.
We're about to all find out, but I don't think they know what they're talking about.
I mean, there's just always going to be some kind of hiccup, right?
To be fair, all they're saying is we've got plans. We know we're talking about it.
Yeah.
We're talking about it.
There better be like thousands of warehouses holding these things completed across the world to like meet the demand that.
Also,
that
if
they
you
think
work
we
in one
can
of those
do.
warehouses, send me one, please.
Right.
Just send me one.
You just send me a copy.
They're not gonna
off
miss
the
it.
back of the truck special, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
they're not gonna miss it. Come on. I'm such a good influence. All right, so Astrobot got 5 new levels. I have not gone to check these out yet. Apparently, they're like more
didn't know they
challenging. And a PS5 Pro patch for those of you who have the Pro.
All right. You know what? They're challenging. I'll take care of it, guys. I'll play it. I'll get back to you.
Go confirm if that's true. That's like what the news headline summary was saying, that they're more challenging. You let me know if they're actually challenging.
I'll let you know.
But gosh, that game's awesome. What a fun game. I love it when a good game gets the sales it deserves. That's why it's so sad when a really good game, like in my opinion, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, just doesn't move the copies it needs for the company to consider it successful, and it just gets shuttered. And any future idea for it gets shuttered. There's been other examples of this, of course, like PlayStation fans. You've experienced that with Days Gone. That was by no means like a Game of the Year game, but it was a good open world zombie game. It's a bummer that they didn't get a chance to make what probably would have been an absolute banger of a sequel. Probably would have been awesome.
Hey, maybe
maybe the remaster.
Remaster too.
It's so weird that they're like, we won't let you make a sequel.
It's
but
so
we
weird.
will.
Yeah.
We will remaster and re-release this game.
Very odd. Very odd.
What?
So, for reference, Alan Wake 2, actually just a couple weeks ago, I think I saw this news. They passed 2 million sold, which is awesome. That's a big milestone for any game.
And I think that what did they just break even too? Like,
and they just now started making money.
Yeah, they started paying the profit. Okay. Yeah.
So now any sales of that game are a profit.
That makes me feel really good that people still buy games like a couple years later. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it felt like to me, maybe it was misplaced, that like if you missed your window, that game would just die and disappear to time. You know, like it's just because we're such a like of the moment society and like
that's true.
Consumption culture type of way.
That
like I am happy that people were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy Alan Wake 2 years later. And I know for a lot of people it was getting like a physical copy of that game, so I know that game had like a second life when it finally released physically. So good for it.
And I think the expansion and DLC stuff and kind of staying in front of people has helped.
It stayed in people's mind. You're absolutely right. Yeah, which is like that's the way you use DLC. That was its original purpose, is to like keep engagement after post launch or whatever. And the message got lost at some point, but I feel like this is the way you're supposed to use DLC, is like a year later put out something, a year and a half later put out something else, you know.
Yeah, so Alan Wake 2 is one of the best games of 2023. Is that the year it came out, right? Great game. Really, really good game. Blew my mind. And I'm not a big fan of most horror things. I don't watch a ton of horror movies, although I'll watch some. I don't play a ton of horror games, but I'll play some. This one just blew my mind. Amazing storytelling and writing.
One of the most unique video games ever. You know, like
so confusing cool. And yet also very satisfying somehow. When it was like, I can't explain to you exactly what happened. I just know I really liked it. It was just so weird.
That's fair.
It's very interesting to watch. Like everything that's unfolding in that game.
Like a season of X-Files. It's like I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Or Fringe.
I don't think I've ever. I don't know. Like that's a big. So they went big swings with that game, and it's just so cinematic, like cinematically conceptual, and I just love it. Yeah.
It's gorgeous too. Like holy crap! Like the lighting and the shadow, which is important for for hard like spooky games. Audio, all of that stuff. Like especially important with a game like that. And
that game, like it took everything it learned from Control's like ashtray maze like moment in that game, and they're like, we're gonna make a whole game that weird. Like that moment that everyone was talking about in Control, we're gonna make a whole game like that's that like bizarre and crazy, and they nailed it.
I'll tell you what, I have to make an embarrassing confession. When I play games that are spooky, and I don't want to just be stressed out the whole time, I very often have a guide of some kind up where I can be like, okay, there's
Sure.
ammo over here, or because then I treat it
Fine.
more like
I'm pro
an
guide for
adventure game
everything.
where I'm like trying to find all the secrets, and I have far less stress. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, there's gonna be 3 enemies in there. All right, cool. Like
I like to know. I'll use a guide just to know when the next save point is. You know, I'll be like,
too.
I just need to make it. I can make it to like, and Alan Wake is a good example. It's like I just need to make it like 2 more hallways, and I can stop this madness for a night. You know.
Apparently, I'm a glutton for punishment because I do none of that. I just go in and I'm like, well, good luck.
Dan's like,
me,
scare me.
I guess.
I
Punish
love
me.
guides. Dude, I used to buy like Prima guides for every game I bought. I used to have a co-pilot sitting next to me with the guy. Like, just it was every game was a 2-person experience. You know,
Read
like,
it to me.
was,
Go.
Yeah,
Read it to me.
you're co-piloting, man. Buckle up. Tell me how to beat Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Feed me a Dorito and then tell me what to do next.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't get to level 99 and struggle. That's
Dorito.
Beer me.
That's the tactic. Yeah, beer me.
Well, so
Well, beer me. Yeah.
beer me. So Alan Wake 2 hitting 2 million is awesome. I just wanted to put that in context for the fact that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which the first game had pretty good success but wasn't amazingly well received commercially or critically, it already hit over 2 million sold. Actually, they're just now crossing 2 million sold, they said, probably this week, which is... That's quite the milestone.
And
listen,
they broke even last week.
Right.
We made mention of that last week.
Yeah.
So, like, this is a million profit.
because they sold the first million in the first 24 hours. And then word of mouth and people continuing to play it has really moved it along.
Doubled. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is like the best case scenario for a small studio that, like, again, is taking a second swing at something where their first outing was like good. Like everyone was like, hats off to you, little guy. But now they're like, y'all are in the major leagues.
This looks like a AAA experience.
It is,
in my experience, it's a AAA game.
It really is, yeah.
So,
and I've had very limited like issues with the game, like very, very limited.
Yep.
What was it? I can't remember if it was the Game Awards or one of the other shows where what's his face came back. It was like, yeah, we're doing another Alan Wake. Like that exposure definitely helped for sure. I can't remember what show it was, but
well, that was for Alan Wake.
Healy
This is
had
for
him on.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, just passing 2 million.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that definitely helped for Alan Wake. He does keep showing up. Like he presented an award, right? So I do wonder if that helps with that.
Sam. I think it also helps that
Sam
Sam has become more and more of a cartoon character. I mean that in like most positive way possible.
In a fun way.
I feel like he's Kojimifying himself, where it's like I'm gonna put myself in the people's eye.
I'm a character
in
the
director,
industry.
I'm unique. You know. I think that there's.
Yeah, he's a character.
I think there's a winning formula there. I think that there is some sauce there to be.
I agree. This is one of those cases with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 that feels to me like I don't know, and I know this probably sounds really obvious, but if you make a game that is excellent enough, and I mean like pretty much 9s across the board on average from most review outlets, in some cases 10s, then people are going to buy it and play it for the most part. That's not always true. There's some exceptions, of course, but this is a great example of making an excellent game that gets the critical reviews. I actually think the critical reviews on this helped it sell the way it has.
I'm telling you, dude, it's the only reason I bought this game.
Same here. I wasn't going to buy it.
I played like 30 or 40 hours of the first game. I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore. Like,
okay. I only played like an hour of the first game. This past month, I went back and tried it again. It was like on sale for like $6 on PC. So I grabbed it, fired it up, went through the whole opening again. I was like, oof, this is it's too clunky. It feels I don't think I can do it. It's just too much.
Yeah.
And this game has improved, at least on the short experience I have with the first game.
I got it because of the 9s. I mean, you're right. I mean, like, I don't know if that's the case for everybody, but like, you know, this is a case of a review swaying.
Did it for me.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then, of course, positive word of mouth from other gamers who were talking about it. You know, the time when I went and I pulled the trigger to make the purchase, I read the quote, and it was from a reviewer, and I can't remember which review it was, but it was this, just like CDPR had their Witcher 3 moment, this is that moment for Warhorse.
I watched this review. I forget which review it is too, but yes, I remember that. Yeah, where it's like this is the jump from Witcher 2 to
that
Witcher
makes
3,
sense.
you know?
That makes sense. Yeah.
In terms of just nailing it, and like this is like like their Cyberpunk game is going to be so broken and bad if they're following this trajectory. No. But
then they'll
no,
fix it, and then it will be great.
they'll
So,
fix it, and they'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give it a few years. But no, I think that's super accurate. I mean, if and people like Witcher 2, but they're like, oh, it can be more. This is that jump. This is them landing and hitting every mechanic, and just we'll get to it.
Yeah,
We'll get to it.
so,
I know
so
you and I
good.
have played a lot, so
Yeah.
I really want to dive into the mechanics so
Yeah.
bad. I wanna
So
talk
do I.
about how
There's a
deep
lot there.
everything is, yeah.
Well, let's talk about Sony stuff before we get into the state of play. There's this rumor, apparently it's pretty well substantiated, that Hellblade 2 could be hitting PS5
Cool. Yeah,
sometime
a whole
soon.
console of people can be bored with that game. That's good.
No. Maybe on Sony it'll have
a new audience.
Maybe on Sony it'll play really well. It'll have a great
The whole new
gameplay.
audience.
Okay, yeah,
It'll have good gameplay.
Yeah, all of a sudden it'll be fun to play.
Yeah.
Dude, could you imagine like it actually sells better on PlayStation?
I feel so bad dogging this game. I really do. I have a lot of guilt every time that we pile on.
It's fun though.
I don't
It's
know
fun.
why. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from, but like
It's fun.
I will say this. We've said it, and we've said it seriously, and we meant it. It might be the best looking video game that's ever been made. It's up there
gorgeous,
at least.
yeah.
Like just in terms of realism and just the level of detail. Incredible. So if that's something you want to experience on your PS5 Pro, if this does release on there, absolutely. Yeah, it's worth.
Well, depending on who you ask, the Xbox X is so much more powerful than the PlayStation. There's no way it's going to look
That's
so good
true.
on the PS5, so.
But hey, since everything is an Xbox, playing on the PS5 Pro is still playing on an Xbox. So
Yeah.
that's the ad, right? Isn't everything an Xbox?
Yeah, everything's an Xbox.
Yeah.
Your PlayStation 5 Pro.
Everything. That's true. That's true.
That's the best way to win a war is be like, wait, we're on your side. Why are you guys fighting us? We're on your side. Like,
The phone calls coming from inside the house.
yeah, exactly.
We're on the same team.
All right, let's talk about the Sony State of Play. Listen, it's up to you guys how much time you want to spend on this. We can either just talk through it. I've got a list of a bunch of the announcements. I can pull it up. It's like a 45-minute thing. We can scrub through it if you guys want. What would you prefer? Would you prefer to just chat through it, or do you want to look at it?
They showed us a little bit more, some fresh footage of Onimusha, so we could spend like 4 hours really
Let's
if
not
we
do that.
wanted to like.
Let's not do that.
But do you want me to pull up the video so we can scrub through it together?
Yeah, I like the scrub idea.
We won't listen to it. We'll just be able to
No,
watch it.
no. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it ended overall. I don't know if you agree with this. I think overall the show ended better than it started.
Yeah, I don't
Like the
don't-
second half was better than the first.
I don't. I maybe when I watch it, that'll resonate with me. But I don't know. I kind of
Okay.
was kind of jazzed the entire time I was playing.
So I'm gonna kind of
Okay.
hover, as you guys can probably see. Can you see when I'm hovering? Like, does it show the preview? Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Like I wasn't offended by the stuff in the beginning. It just felt like there was like a lot of like, oh, like we've seen these
maybe
things.
maybe there was some momentum that I'm just not perceiving. But yeah, that would be a good way to cut a show, is to have momentum building the whole show. So
yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds, by the
absolutely.
way, guys, is looking so gorgeous. This game looks
Yeah.
beautiful. I did not try any of the open betas. I have it pre-purchased on PS5.
me too. Yeah,
I'm ready
I do
to
not
go.
need any convincing to
Yeah.
play this game. Yeah.
I mean, but it looks beautiful, dude. This game looks
Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah.
I don't need any more selling. I'm good on
I
that
mean,
one.
I'm telling you this, end of the year, we're gonna be talking about this game. I mean, like,
yeah.
this is like.
Yeah.
I'm
Also,
here-
I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try some of the new stuff, some of the new weapons. I'll give them a whirl,
And
and
then
I'm gonna go back to my
the
big
thing that I always
hammer.
use.
That's I always use the giant hammer every
Same.
time. It's just
Not the hammer, but I will go back to the thing that I'm most comfortable with. I'm
Yep.
like, everything was great, but I'm doing daggers. Sorry.
All right.
Hey, you know what you're about. You know
This
You
game
know what
looks
you're about.
awesome. This is a new Shinobi game. I'm sure you
I
guys
love
Yeah.
the look of this game, and
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 4, Dev.
look
I'm
at
all
this.
about
Look
it,
at this
dude.
art
Yeah.
style. Holy.
Oh, is it Streets of Rage 4?
Yeah,
Nice.
these guys are the best side-scrolling like devs out there, and like we're about to get the best ninja side-scrolling game ever. Like
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this game.
Dude, it is hot for ninjas right now.
Dude,
we got
we're
the
in it, dude.
other
Ninjas,
Ninja Gaiden game
samurai.
coming out. Like,
Yeah.
So the description says play as Joe Musashi, which is the funniest name. Joe Musashi, and a new
Joe Musashi.
Is that his original name? Like in the
I don't know.
original Shinobi?
I'm not
That's
sure.
hilarious.
But it says
Musashi
it's
sounds so American. Yeah.
It's a new 2D action platformer. Look, these graphics are so
Look at
cool
this.
looking. And then they say you can battle challenging enemies, epic bosses, in a uniquely hand-drawn world. It's a
It's like one of the
collaboration
Japanese
between
paintings.
Yeah,
Sega
it does look like a water painting. Yeah.
and Lizard Cube, who co-developed Streets of Rage 4. So, dang. It does have a painterly look to it. You're right. Hand-drawn.
Yeah, I like that.
So
It's distinct.
cool,
It gives
dude.
it the distinct
so
look, and
in.
it separates itself from the
So
Ninja
in.
Gaiden pixel game that's coming out.
And look,
Like,
Yes,
August 29th.
yeah.
So we got this game is coming out one day after the Metal Gear Solid Delta, which we'll get to that
Well, sorry, Shinobi.
Well. Okay, we got
Sorry,
some
Shinobi.
Sonic Racing.
I'll choose the game I've beaten 700 times. How about that?
Got some Sonic Racing stuff that happened. All right, and then we got into
Sonic Racing stuff that happened.
There it is. Yeah, Sonic races with buddies. Sure.
What is this one?
Great kart racing games, by the way. Not to gloss over them, but also gloss over them.
Yeah, I'm gonna gloss over it. Sorry.
Why am I not? Oh, Digimon. Yeah, I was like,
story.
Why am I not remembering? I mean, it looks cool. I think it looks really sharp for
These
a Digimon
RPGs
game.
are like pretty big in that circle of like
Digimon Story
fans.
Time Stranger. Okay, so that
These
was announced.
Digimon Story games are like big. Yeah, I don't care about them though.
Yeah.
All right.
Digimon.
Lost Soul.
So this
aside.
here, Tim.
Yeah, this one looks amazing.
Yeah, this
we go.
Cool, dude.
So
the first of 18 different character action games in this state of play. So
a little history about this game. This guy Yang Ming.
Yeah.
If I'm saying it correctly. So he basically, like, Sony scooped him up. Like, he made like kind of like a demo type of video, whatever, of like, this is a game I'm making. It was like 10 years ago at this point. And Sony like super like loved it. And they were like, yeah, we're just gonna like fund you basically. And like, if you need to build like a small team, do that too. So like, this literally has been something like I remember seeing it back in the day and being like, oh, this looks really cool. Cause it was inspired. He was inspired by Final Fantasy 15. So the core inspiration for Yang Bing for this game, because I don't know if you're getting the vibes, like the main character has a very sort of like Noctis-y kind of energy about him, the dark clothing and everything. Very Final Fantasy 15 inspired. So
guys, this game's coming out on May 30th.
I know. Yeah, how crazy is that? Yeah.
Again, it's taken them a decade, which is funny.
This is the first time we've seen this, right? Or have they announced this before?
No, we've seen it a few times.
I had never heard of it. Okay.
Yeah. No, we've seen things here. The information has been sparse over the 10 years. But we've seen stuff.
You'll get a new piece of information just as you forget about the old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
right. Yeah.
See, I see a game like this.
When I saw this, I'm like, oh yeah, like this game. Yeah,
I see a game like this, and I'm like, I'll probably give it a try. It looks really cool, but this is going to be Dan's chance to get back at me when I sit here and blab about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 nonstop forever and ever and ever. When this comes out, it'll be his turn to talk about this one with Kyle, because Kyle can talk about both. But
I'm Switzerland almost always. I'm always kind of like, I'm always playing something somebody else is playing. That's how
I hope this turns out well, because again, like, it's cool that he was just a kid making a game. He's like, oh, I'm really passionate about Final Fantasy 15. I'm gonna make a game inspired by that. Like, I hope it really works out for him. I hope this
looks
is good. So.
like it's gonna.
If Sony comes knocking on your door, you probably have pretty good.
Even that little move right here, he dodges through the beam attack, stuff like that. I can already kind of imagine how that feels and plays. Like, I'm in on this one. I'll give this one a whirl for sure.
It does look like Final Fantasy 15 DLC, that's for sure.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it is,
maybe it's intrinsically
the DLC we were always promised, but they're like, nah.
All right, Kyle, so we got this pirate game that's coming out, and then
I've never heard of this. I don't know what this is.
Not only is that coming out here in about 2 weeks, no, 1 week. Holy crap, next week. But it's also they're teaming up with Dave the Diver, which is hilarious to me.
So cool, yeah. Look, two things I love merging. So great,
hilarious.
Look at that. You can even see his tattoo. Oh, look at him. Look how jacked he is underwater.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Jacked underwater. What is this? Is this some side scrollers? Why? What is that? What is that?
Dude, Dave the Diver to me is it's like cranberry juice. You know, it's getting in all the other juices. You know, it's.
Yeah.
It's new Nier. Remember when 2B was like in everything?
Yes.
You know?
Sure.
Right. Yeah. Now, but everything's in Dave the Diver. That's the difference.
All right. So we got WWE stuff. We had Splitgate 2.
I really liked whatever was going on. Like, so there's like a hub world that you're walking around, you're shopping for clothes, and you're doing. I was just like, I immediately go, Jeff's gonna love this.
Jeff's gonna love this. Yeah. So shout out to Jeff. March 14th, WWE 2K25.
RPGifying.
Yeah. It reminds me of old Mortal Kombat, like where you're like walking around like as a character, and like you use currency to like buy stuff. Like it's a good idea.
And the crypt, right? The crypt.
You know what else is gonna be fun? Is Borderlands 4. Like, regardless of all the inevitable arguments about character design and all the other garbage, I get it. Let's set that stuff aside for a second. It's going to be a really fun run and gun shooter game with tons of loot. I mean, it's going to be fun. Will it be something that I love as much? I got so hooked on Borderlands 2 back in the day, and I played that one start to finish. I loved it.
Maybe you'll get hooked again.
Maybe I'll hook it, because Borderlands 3 didn't do it quite for me like that one did. Not because it was bad. It just didn't hook me the same way. But this one looks fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I hope it's good. Yeah. Apparently, there's going to be a big showcase of this in the spring sometime.
Okay.
And then, of course, we got a release date as well.
Yeah. So. It's coming out September. What was it? 23rd.
23rd. That sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Because it's around my birthday. It's around my birthday. So.
Yeah, I think it's the 23rd.
I'm excited.
It is the 23rd. Yeah.
I hope it's fantastic. I mean, I just hope it's so much fun.
This is a game I completely forgot about, guys. As I was making different lists, I knew this was announced at Game Awards, and I had forgotten about it. But this new game from Joseph, what's his name?
Ferris.
Yeah. When he did what's it called? It Takes Two. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Brothers.
Brothers. That's right. That's right. So this game looks like a lot of fun. I thought the concept of it looked cool. Who knows if it'll deliver? Obviously,
I think at some point you have to surrender to the pedigree of the developer.
It's going to be fun.
He hasn't missed yet, so
there's going to be elements of it that are probably like, oh, okay, it limits you. It's pretty linear, right? It wants you to solve a puzzle in this way together, and it's going to feel cool and clever. And then you get to the next section.
The Jason Ferris promise is you never do the same thing twice. Like that's
right.
Like that is his promise. He's delivered every time. I've beaten every single one of these games with Jeff. What was the prison one where you're the two guys?
No Way Out.
No Way Out. Or no, not No Way Out.
Yeah. What is it? A Way Out? That
Something
sounds right.
A Way Out. A Way Out.
A Way Out. Yeah.
A Way Out.
So good. All these games are always like the most fun co-op games I've ever played. Like, so I'm very excited to annoy Jeff to play this one with me.
So yeah, is it called Split? I was looking for the title. Split Fiction, right? Isn't that the name of it?
Split. Yeah. I keep on calling it Splitgate because
guys, this is coming out in like 2-3 weeks.
It just in time for all of us to get past Monster. We'll be done with Monster Hunter, obviously.
Dude,
there was quite a few
that comes out the same day
as
the Dragonkin game that looks like Diablo. I think I showed you guys that one. It's this crazy cool action RPG isometric game. Dragonkin the Banished, Suikoden 1 and 2 remastered, and Split Fiction all come out in the same exact day. I'm like, cool. Free games.
I love that they do that.
Why are we complaining? We all have time. We all have time to play these games.
Sorry, work. I'm not working anymore. Sorry, family.
Why spread them out to the different weeks of the month? Why do that?
Yeah, why do that? All right, so this is the new Supermassive game, the Directive 8020, I think it's called. That sound right?
Yeah.
Coming out October 2nd.
It couldn't be more.
Looks cool.
Still horror, still their stuff, but like cosmic horror now. They're just doing cosmic horror instead of
we're going to space.
Yeah, it's that girl from. Isn't she the Jedi girl or the evil Jedi girl? Isn't that her?
I don't know. I think that's the 007 girl.
That's the 007 girl. Oh, she was in Matilda, the musical Matilda. She's got a good singing voice too, by the way. She was like
Miss was it Marvel? Miss Marvel too, as well.
Marvel. Okay, that's who it is. Yeah. Really good actress.
Her
buddy, her friend.
Yeah, her friend. Her Air Force friend.
Yeah, she's a really good actress.
Yeah.
She is good. Yeah.
So anyway, Supermassive. Lots of stories.
I cannot wait till
it
seemed like Body Snatcher type of thing, or people are like getting cloned. So you don't
really all
know.
Deformed.
You don't really know if you're talking to like the real person or I'm really. It just gives me like the Thing vibes and Event Horizon vibes, and like put me in that game. That make me. I'm gonna all these. If I know me, how I play these games,
if I know me,
are gonna be dead. They're gonna be dead. By the end of this adventure, they're all gonna be dead. And it's probably gonna be in the last room or something. Like
I'll tell you, when I played the Quarry, I didn't look at the story at a time, but I just looked at what are some of the key things I need to make sure I do to keep everyone alive, and I did.
There was that one part in the Quarry where like everyone dies in that room.
Yeah.
And like but it's the same thing that happened in Until Dawn as well, where at the very end everyone's like, something's going on. I don't want to ruin it in case no one's played it, but like I made a split decision that murdered everybody in the room. I'm like, whoa, I just suck at these games.
Yeah.
No, because we had a friend that did that too. We had literally that last room, Kyle. Like she's like, just flip the thing.
Flip the switch.
Like, are you sure?
Like, go flip the switch. Yeah. Nope. Everyone's dead. Crispy.
What is this one? This looks like a Tim Burton.
Dude, this game.
This is that game.
Yeah.
There was a trailer for this before where it's a claymation.
Yeah. Oh, I remember this.
VR.
But stop motion.
Also not
play,
VR. Yeah. I think you can play it without VR as well.
What a cool look.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, very Tim Burton-esque.
Kind of Tim Burton-y. Yeah.
May 8th. Wait, what's it called? The Midnight Walk.
Midnight Walk.
That one looks cool. Coming out May 8th.
Yes, very cool.
Okay, another game for the spring.
Yeah, this presentation was filled with a lot of things that they were like, yeah, we have a date for it. Like,
yeah, a lot of dates. Yeah.
Darwin's Paradox.
This looks adorable.
What is it? A side scroller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did see, and I don't know if this is a PlayStation exclusive.
Oh, he was like an octopus. Okay.
But I did see that Sony officially said, hey, we are going to be. Oh, jumped ahead a little bit. We are going to be doing more family games after the success of Astrobot. We're learning that our audience wants more games like this, so we're going to be doing more family.
Well, what's interesting about this one and kind of weird because just
This
what
looks
the
cute.
game looks like, it's published by Konami.
This is?
So, yeah.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure during the presentation
I
they
like
said
some
Konami.
I like some side scroller platformers though. Look at that.
Mm.
He can blend in with his little camouflage. That's awesome.
Little Incan.
All right, and then we had the shadow drop during the event saying out today the Warriors Abyss game, which we already previewed, which looks really intriguing. Wait, guys, what's this one?
I don't know. I've never heard of this.
I don't know. Is this samurai stuff?
This isn't like a long-awaited remaster of some kind.
Just Ghost of
Samurai.
Yote that everyone's mad about because it didn't show up.
Yeah, so this is the remaster of Onimusha 2.
Yeah.
Looks
People
really good.
slapped on this game. Get this game. It's so good. Yeah. People are like, oh, I'm not going to play it because Samanosuke is not in it or whatever his name is. And
I never
I think
played
this one's
one.
garnered as the favorite though.
Is it? Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember it not being the favorite. It's my favorite, but I remember it not being the favorite.
Now, I heard that totally anecdotal from a friend who loves this series. He always described it as they got better as they went. Like he thought one
I
was
agree
good,
with
but
that,
2 was better,
yeah.
but 3 was better. Like that was just kind of his take on it.
I agree
The
with
quality
that.
kept improving.
I
for
think
sure,
people
yeah.
really like the main character of the first game. So when
Samanosuke, yeah.
So when you don't play as him in the second game, there was a lot of like bitterness. But then when he came
Sure,
back for 3,
absolutely.
there was like there was a big swell of excitement.
Was there a
so-
fourth one too that just kind of went?
There was, yeah. We don't talk about
Dawn
the
of
fourth one.
Dreams.
Don't talk about the fourth one. The fourth one doesn't come to
We don't talk about
Thanksgiving
them.
gatherings. Okay, got it.
No, yeah, no.
No, yeah.
That one actually, like mechanically, I think was actually the best one out of all of them. But
yeah,
at
a
that
little
point,
closer to character action game than kind of like its original
Yeah.
DNA, which I think again like it started losing kind of what Onimusha was in my opinion with that, but the best feeling for sure. Yeah, I would say.
Dude, the level of detail in this trailer is so good. This is my first time seeing it. This looks amazing.
his little like
yeah.
details that he does, like in a second we'll see.
There's a
He
lot of
grabs
really
a thing.
cool sword
Oh.
play going on in this one where it's like I don't know, man, like the animations for some of the sword plays like wowed me, like the Phantom Blade Zero like stuff where it's like when
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
exchanging
That
blows
looks-
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
looks like they're exchanging like clashes of their swords and weapons in that trailer. I kind of got the vibe in this one too.
Dude, can I just say too?
This right here, he grabbed whatever that was. I don't know what he's grabbing there, but he
table,
like
some-
grabbed his
something like a-
shield.
yeah. By the way, real quick, his facial expressions just at like
Yeah.
it really does add character, like a personality to it.
Yeah, so he's actually based off a very famous Japanese actor who
Did the guy
Yeah.
do
I think has
motion capture
portrayed.
for it?
No, he's dead. I mean, he was
Oh,
in
geez,
Akira
okay.
Kurosawa. He was in Akira Kurosawa era.
Oh, classic actor. Got it.
Yeah, classic
yeah.
actor. And like it being, again, I said in chat, like this being Musashi Miyamoto is awesome. Like it's such a great thing. Onimusha is steeped in taking real historical characters and
Yeah.
bringing them into the lore of this game. The main bad guy of the first game was Oda Nobunaga, so it is interesting that they're just like they continue that kind of trend of like dragging in historical famous people and like making them kill demons or making them become demons. So
This part threw me off though. The gauntlet's talking now, so that's weird
new.
because it never did that before.
No, yeah.
So,
I forget if the anime introduced that because the anime had Musashi
Okay.
Miyamoto as the main character as well. Which
gotcha.
Kind of interesting that those parallels are
Oh, hey,
happening.
look,
Dude, Kyle, you
it's
were
a
getting like
little-
back to back to back to back trailers that are like Kyle trailers.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like I was screaming during most of the trailer, like, oh my god!
All right, so this is obviously Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Gear.
I don't know why they're calling it Delta, but I actually don't care. I just want this really
I
bad.
don't either. I do want them to tell me what does
Explain
that
it.
mean? What does Delta mean? Yeah, but
They're gonna do their own little Kojima thing where it's just weird brain nonsense, and you can be
at
like,
the
"What does it
very
mean?"
end,
So Delta is either like a designation of some kind, more likely here.
Right.
It also is like where a river meets like the bigger body of water, I think.
okay.
So I don't know if it's going to tie into that.
All right, I can see them going for like a metaphorical, explanation or something like that. This game rocks. I'm just gonna be so excited to play this game. Are you kidding me?
I appreciate that they really are like respecting the vision of it, though, right?
I do like it,
seems
and
that way.
even though they originally said differently, they are going back and shooting new lines too. So like we're gonna get
okay.
more. I'm a little scared of this because like it's not Kojima writing
Yeah.
the lines, so I don't know if they're gonna be like dumb, but like
Yeah.
more people are gonna have more
August
speaking lines
28th.
in certain moments. So
Okay.
It's coming soon, guys. August 28th.
Also, this is coming back. This little mini game.
You wanted more Ape Escape, you got it.
Yeah.
You
Everyone
go.
wanted more Ape Escape. After playing Astrobot, I want more Ape Escape.
Astrobot, everyone wants Ape Escape.
Yeah. Dang, August 28th. And then I think we confirmed, we talked about this last week or the week before, it's coming to Xbox as well.
Right.
So, all right. And then this, I think, is like the single player for that. Wait, am I thinking of something different?
No,
Oh
the
no,
Hell is
hell
Us.
is that, dude?
Hell is Us looks
Dude,
so cool.
this game.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this game.
Yeah.
Like, dude, for real. Like, this game is. I'm very, very, very excited for this.
Yeah,
it just looks so weird.
I've been really looking into this game, and like, there's gonna be like no map or no anything. Like, you're just supposed to like explore raw. Like, you're not like if you see something over there,
September
go
4th.
to it.
Oh my
Whatever.
gosh, stop it. There's too many.
Yeah. Yeah.
September 4th.
I wonder if the year started and they're like, well, GTA hasn't released their release date yet. Let's just like let's
They're
just
like,
get all our
everyone
stuff out
hold
there.
these dates loosely because we're going to move out of the way.
I think everyone thought maybe in December that they were going to announce a release date. So they're like, no one. Oh, here, this is you. This is for you.
Yeah,
Tim.
man. So this is a
game.
Well, a lot of these other ones were for me too, just maybe not as strongly as
Well,
they are
but
for you guys.
this, I mean, I thought
I
you
love
really liked
Lies of
this
P.
game. Yeah,
Now this is a prequel DLC they announced coming.
Oh, it's a prequel.
this summer.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have a release
I didn't realize
date
it was
yet.
DLC. I didn't know if it was standalone or not. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's I think we consider it probably an expansion with how much is going to be new. But yeah, it is a prequel. Look at that shotgun.
Pet
on
cats.
his arm.
That's cool.
He's a real boy.
He seems like he's attacking. Like, I haven't. To be fair, I haven't really actually. I only played the demo. The fluidity of some of his moves here seem like not. Was the combat like that in the base game? Like, was he moving around like that?
Not until. Like, it depends on how you made your build. Like, there was some.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
like some builds were meant to be a lot more tanky. Some were meant to be much more flowy.
Okay.
But
because that seemed kind of like different to me.
What a cool like this weird steampunk fantasy horror
game.
Some really sick visuals in this. Like,
the design, I stand by it, might have been the best design that whole year, even though it wasn't everyone's favorite visual. It was such creative artwork and design in this.
Yeah.
And look at the snow setting too. That is so cool. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
He's just doing some stuff in there that's kind of cool. I'm like, oh, that's okay.
Hang on, let's see. Overture, I think that's what it's called? Yeah, Overture.
Yeah, Overture, yeah.
And then, summer. There it is. Summer 2025. All right, skipping ahead here.
A little voxel game.
This game looks so weird, but like interesting.
Is this from Dreams
it's so
or
weird,
something?
but interesting.
No, it kind of looks like it, right?
Yeah.
I know it's like an all voxel game with like lots of destruction.
I literally just said the name by accident.
So
Dreams
he explains that because the game doesn't. Yeah, it looks like something out of Dreams, but he has a gun, right? So like the gun isn't for like killing. It's you shoot things to alter them. So you're using the gun to like open up different pathways and change the form of something and stuff like that. Like it seems very, very odd, but like in a fun artsy way. You know?
Yeah, I like stuff like that. Experiment a little bit, do something a little different.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, as you know, we know Days Gone Remastered was announced. I believe it's a $10 upgrade if you already own it on PS4. I own it on PC because it's been so cheap on PC for so long. I am curious, will they kick in some of these upgrades on PC? Now, to be fair, on the PC version, you could already set it to look and run really great. Like it can look and run really great. So I'm not sure how many of these upgrades are going to be more helpful to console players.
Because it says PS5 upgrade.
But they are adding a bunch of modes as well, like that,
Right,
type mode. So,
oh wait, new modes. Oh, there you go. New modes coming to PC.
Oh, there you go. It just said it right there. Answer my question as we were talking.
Yeah. There you go.
Sweet.
Stellar Blade DLC.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
It's just a little bit. It's just a little bit of DLC, but still cool. Still appreciate that.
What's Nikke?
I think it's like a mobile game, something.
Nikke DLC. Okay, well,
that's fine. I mean, more DLC is cool.
I agree. All right, is this the Lost Tapes or something? Right? Lost Records.
Yeah, Lost Records. Yeah.
I'm intrigued by this, and I hope it's good. I hope it's good.
Yeah. Well, I don't like that it's coming out next week. It's a bad time for it to come out, but yeah.
You know what? I don't feel bad about it because it's only the first part of it. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to play it yet. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah, no.
Because the second part's like in May or something, I think, or April. Blueprints. What is this?
I don't remember this, to be honest.
Yeah, that one seemed kind of
like an adventure walking simulator kind
Probably
of thing.
Probably a walking sim, yeah.
I think you're building like this mansion and doing some puzzly stuff, I think.
Out!
I played a little bit of Abiotic Factor. I did not like the way it played. A lot of people like it. It's a survival builder game. I did not like it. It's one of those ones that I bought on Steam and then went ahead and got a refund. I was like, I'm not going to play this, you know. All right, they gave us a bunch of stuff that's coming to classics.
Oh
Armored
yeah,
Core.
Armored Core. The
Armored
beatable
Core.
Armored Core games. There you go.
This game looks cool.
What is this one? I'm trying to.
Another female
Tides of
badass female
Annihilation.
action game.
All right, yeah. So this is set in
Yeah.
London, which is cool.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
and she can call on the Knights of the Round Table as her powers. So it's like, there's a lot of really cool stuff where she's like sliding down buildings that are like collapsing, and like this game just looks like set piece the video game. And I like that the summons or whatever the powers that you're calling upon are like Arthurian. Like that's pretty cool.
Really cool setting.
Game
Look at
visually
that guy.
looks great
Is that a
too.
boss you're gonna fight? You think?
The second of 200
I mean,
character action games in this.
This thing is gonna be
Nah,
freaking
he's your friend.
Colossus. Yeah, he's your buddy.
He's your mount. That's how you get around the city. Is that giant thing?
Yeah,
That'd be
big old
great.
guy.
That looks like an
Actually.
Elden Ring boss right there. That's like a Dark
Yeah,
Souls
it's like-
boss.
Yeah, I did just.
It's like
look at
Shadow
this.
of the
Look at all
Colossus.
that.
Shadow of the
Look at that.
Colossus. Yeah. Guys, I'm super in on this one. I saw the
Yeah.
title and read the description. This is my first time seeing it. This looks awesome.
It's like
Yeah,
if
looks
Forspoken
really
was good.
Aw. What if Forspoken had been good? Yeah, you know, we'd be talking about it much
Yeah, it's a
differently.
shame.
We would.
Shame.
Yeah, it's a
The
shame.
thing is, it wasn't, so we're not talking about it differently.
Now it's just a punchline.
Yeah.
Now it's the thing on a scale. Where is it on a
Yeah,
scale of
yeah.
Forspoken
Is
to
it from Forspoken?
Yeah.
From Forspoken to Near, where
To
are we
Nier,
at on
exactly.
This one?
yeah, it looks like some really epic boss fights too. All right, I'm super
Yeah.
in on
Good
Tides of
dodging.
Annihilation, which
Good
comes
dodging.
out. It's in development, it says, so we don't have a release date for that. Okay.
Okay.
Ugh.
Why show
I
it?
don't what are you doing?
To all the angry Chads out there, I hope she's good looking enough for you so you don't get mad when you play your video games. Okay, guys?
Well,
Yeah,
she's got a
no,
tattoo
yeah.
like in the
Better
middle
be-
of her face, and
Better be pretty.
Better be pretty, otherwise I can't play.
I'm gonna lose it.
Better be someone I might date in real life.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with
That-
Anyway, what is this one? Is this...
split. It's split something.
Is
I
it
can't remember
Splitgate?
the full title.
Probably split.
They already did a
game.
Splitgate 2 thing earlier.
Oh, maybe it's not Splitgate then.
Wait. Metal Eden.
Metal
Oh,
Eden.
I thought
Nope,
it was
never
Splitgate.
mind.
Yeah.
Fast
All these games
Because they
It's
did.
a sci-fi
I swear they
shooter.
showed Splitgate, didn't
I
they?
think so.
That was earlier they did.
Okay, all right. So that's why I was thinking.
Build a rocket boy. What the heck?
But I'm saying.
Build
We
a
all
rocket
deserve
boy.
a rocket boy.
Was that build a rocket, comma boy, or build a rocket boy? You know what I'm saying?
These are different sentences.
That comma changes the whole thing.
It just changes the
Oh,
whole
this is
context of
the-
everything.
This is GTA. This is sci-fi. This is future
Oh,
GTA.
I'm so excited for this game. So the original,
Oh,
one of the original creators-
something. Mind.
Yeah, we
Mind-
got a little glimpse of it like a year or so ago, and like this is the most gameplay we've
Mind's
seen. of
Eye.
it. And
That's what it is,
dude, this
Mind's
game
Eye.
Mind's
looks
Eye, yeah.
So I'm so hyped for this game. Ugh.
Yeah.
Like, from the creator of GTA, you know, like after he
That's
left
right.
Rockstar.
That's
Oh,
right.
Man.
Yep. I
Sign me
saw the
up.
notes on this one. This looks great.
Yeah.
So wait, is it a big open world game?
I'm assuming so, but like I don't know if they've announced that yet.
If it's not, then you might
I
want to
think
back
maybe
off on
they
the
did.
GTA comparisons for marketing. You know what I'm saying?
I think that they did last trailer when they were talking about it at the Game Awards or whatever. Maybe it was Summer Gaming. They're like,
big
it is
open
going to be
world.
an open world, sci-fi
Yeah.
game.
Dude, this looks
Dude,
great.
look at this, man. Are you
Mind's
kidding
Eye
me?
looks awesome.
Really great set pieces and like
So
just
excited for that. The driving looked cool. He's driving that like muscle
See if
car
it
that's like drifting
gave
around
us
the
a-
corners.
Does it even give us a year? Summer
it
2025.
says summer
That's
2025.
this year, man. Yeah.
The same year as GTA 6.
Yeah, let me
Hey,
lean
guys.
on an old. Let me lean on an old bit here. That game's not coming out this year.
Hey guys, do you remember?
not
Do you remember
gonna
when I
happen.
said I'll have time this summer to play Avowed? That was funny.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That was funny.
Not.
All right. So, wait, did I skip back by accident?
I like that he's driving like a muscle car that you would see today, but like the
Yeah.
world is like this that little that kind of like near
Like when Will
future
Smith does that
sci-fi.
in- It's a very sci-fi trope. Like Will Smith does it in
Yeah, yeah.
iRobot. And you know what? Love that trope. Love
I'm
it.
skipping
Like,
ahead
I'm an,
here a little
I'm an
bit.
old soul using old world technology in this new world. You know?
Yeah, dude, the imagery of this monster here, like look at this thing.
That's
Like
so cool.
it took me
I'd
a
be
second,
walking
but
the other
like
direction.
I don't know if you guys. Well, you guys said you hadn't seen, so it took me like halfway. I was like, is this a Returnal sequel?
Oh, this is a
Uh,
new IP.
Yep.
From the
New
Returnal
Yeah.
people.
Well, so it's Housemark. Yeah.
It's from the Returnal team.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like it's like a spiritual because they mentioned they're like, yeah, we're taking like what we did with Returnal and just like taking it further. So it's like I think like the skeleton of Returnal is like here, but obviously
Okay.
they'll
So got
they'll
some
do
time
new
till that one
things with it.
hits.
You got some Raul Cooley, who's the star of it, who's
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
he's
the
awesome.
greatest.
He's
I didn't
great.
know
He's
anything
pretty
about
great.
him until the Midnight Mass, and I was like, I love this guy. He's great.
Dude, yeah,
Midnight Mass.
and the show and Flanagan's show before that, House on, I don't know, one of the House shows,
On Haunted Hill, or
I think it's Bly Manor. Bly Manor. He is like more of a main character in that show, and he gives one of the greatest monologues about death I've ever, and boy, he cries at the end of it, and I'm just like, you're a star, baby. Yeah, you're a star. He's so good.
So guys,
He deserves some bigger roles.
That was an
Mhm.
exciting state of
I like
play.
this in Flanagan's, stew,
It's funny so far. I think
Yeah, it was solid.
Xbox has had more games release probably on PS5 than Sony has this year. I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's true or not. But I think Forza's coming out, and if Hellblade 2 comes out, then it's going to start to look that way.
It is going to start looking that way. Yeah.
So I am still very excited for hearing more about Ghost of Yotei. When is that hitting? Is Death Stranding 2 actually on the horizon for this year or not? I know that they've talked about it, but a lot of questions still to be answered there. But I'm not like mad those weren't shown here. We already knew about those. So this is a lot of cool stuff.
A lot of stuff we haven't seen in a while or have never seen.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I know that, of course.
And a lot of good release dates, which is sometimes that builds frustration throughout a show, and it's like coming soon, next year, coming like in development.
Right.
Or just the year 2025, 2025.
Exactly. This sprinkled sprinkled throughout like some release dates and then some without. So
yeah.
They did a good job with that. So yeah, man, overall
appreciated that for sure.
Really good show. So all right. Well, what have you guys been playing and or watching recently? Dan, let's kick it off with you. What are the things, because you have said you have yet to really dive into new stuff this year. It's starting to sound like 2024 all over again.
I know. Yeah, this is Dan's. This
Deja
is
vu.
Dan's
But yeah, what have you been playing or watching, Dan? That's on your mind.
Well, that's what happens when Christmas rolls up and you like just get a bunch of games.
Backlog stuff. Yeah.
Well,
you
fair,
get all the backlog games.
You played a game that released late last year. It's not as if it isn't a new game, and that's Dragon Age Veilguard. So you did complete that one. Yeah.
No, that's so October.
Yeah. That's so
I'm living in the past. Which also the second game I'll mention also in the past, which I finally got to. And
I'm playing an old game along with the new one. It's fine.
There you go. But yeah, so I finished the Veilguard. Trying to like think back to our rankings and everything. I think overall it would probably sit like somewhere in the middle of like top 10 for me.
Okay. That's what
I did. Yeah, I did definitely enjoy it overall. There was definitely little things here and there as I was going along. Okay, like the little like this thing over here could have been this and this could have been that. Like just little nitpicks and stuff. I think the main thing for me.
Hang on. Are you allowed to criticize that game?
I don't think so.
I don't think you can.
I can because I'm not a scumbag. So
Got it. Oh, hang on. Let me write that down.
Yeah, can you just jot that down? But there was one, and Kyle, you did finish it, right? Just to make sure.
Yeah, I beat it like by mid-November rolled around. I was already in the can.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. And Tim, do you care about any sort of like spoilers at all? Because I just wanted to like kind of
let's be realistic.
Touch on it.
I'm never gonna play this game.
Yeah, he's got a better Dragon Age game to play first, obviously, which he is going to play. It's Inquisition.
You know what? We got to get back to your thoughts on this, Dan. But if it weren't for Derek, I probably would have played Inquisition by now, but he pushed for it so hard it started to become like I started to put up like a shield on purpose. Like no.
Yeah.
You know what?
That.
No.
I know I could think of a game that I feel the same way about. I know there's gotta be one.
Mm-hmm.
But someone just pushed a little too hard and I'm like, out of principle, I'm never playing it now.
No.
I mean, Tim, if I asked nicely, which no, I'm just kidding.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, at this point, who cares? It's fine. The series is dead anyway, so
yeah, it's not gonna go anywhere.
As we all turn into crying, it goes from the laughing.
Not Dragon Age, no.
But yeah, so my main gripe is just really from the fact that I overall liked the main cast of this game. And most of them more than I would say the for me personally the two weakest were Tosh and Lucanus, and just more Tosh because she can be abrasive So like trying to speak about her aside from like the controversial stuff,
Mhm.
she does have an abrasive personality, which sometimes can just kind of be like, oh, okay, sure, Tosh, all right.
Well, and she is living in the shadow of a much cooler character that was in the game before of the same race, kind of, and of the same type of
Right,
cloth.
you sent me pictures of that. I was like, whoa, that's a big
yeah.
So like she had a big shoes to fill, and I totally agree. She was one of the ones that I just found kind of like abrasive as well, where I'm just like, I'm trying to help you, you weirdo. Why are you?
But I liked her story though.
Yeah,
I did like the dynamic with the mom and all of that, and how that played into like their race and her like saving her daughter.
Well,
like,
a lot of culture stuff too, of some immigration themes of coming from one culture to another, and like there again, the game has a lot to say about a lot of different stuff, not woke stuff, but like just a lot of different things, especially to sneak in like immigration themes and stuff like that. Like it's doing a lot weirdly,
And then Lucanus, like I liked Lucanus, but like I also so there's a choice that you make early on where you're choosing between like I'm gonna go to this place or this place, and I went with Nev. So Lucanus, like we were kind of like, a little bit of like he's like mad, but then like as you go along, as long as you do his quest, then he's just not really so much there anymore.
He starts really strong too. You're like, oh, he's a cool guy. He's like a musketeer who's like infected with a demon, so like But he just got less and less. Like they didn't really do anything with him,
Right.
Like, and like his story was like prototypical revenge. Like, oh, I'm mad that this guy did this. I'm gonna go kill him. And like that was his whole story. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you learn that he likes coffee, and he keeps bringing up coffee.
That's his one quirk.
Just,
I like coffee. I'm like, coffee. It's not interesting enough, Lucanus. You got to get something more. Yeah.
But all that being said, because I'm trying to paint the picture here, is like I liked the cast overall quite a bit. So there's when you hit the point in the last like 3-ish hours of the game, the point of no return. Yeah. The first mission that you do, Tim, you make some choice. You make two big choices. And the first big choice is basically you're choosing a person to go do a thing, and you're basically sending them to their grave.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's a BioWare thing right there, man. They like to do that too.
Yeah. And like, I get that, but I think the thing that bothers me is like in a game where choices is such a heavy aspect of it, you're giving me the ability, because like, so what you're doing with the side quests of the characters is you're doing all of their side quests to kind of like check off a box of like you're no longer being sort of bogged down by your side stuff. So you help them with their stuff, and then like you check off that box, and then when you get to the end of the game, there's less likely of a chance they're gonna die. So in my head, I'm like, well, I'm doing all this side stuff, so I'm checking off the box of each of my party members. They're gonna be okay. And then you get to this point, and you choose. I chose. So the two characters that you're choosing between, that first choice, one of them was I chose as my love interest, so I wasn't gonna go with her to send her to her grave. Right. So the other poor bastard gets sent to his grave, and I actually did like him. And also he has a little companion with him too that also gets thrown under the rug, which fucking sucks.
You monster.
I didn't, Kyle. I didn't want to do it.
What a monster you are. Yeah, what a monster.
I didn't want to do it, man. Harding's my girl.
That's
like,
awesome.
I'm going with love and not.
I'm going with love. But I mean, that poor little little griffin.
A daddy and his little baby to his death. You crazy.
I sent the black guy to his Hurley, which is such the stereotype, right? You kill the black guy early on.
What you're kind of locking into a little bit is like when you're playing Mass Effect, the choices. People might die, but like there are other things in the background that maybe help do that. Whereas this game is binary. It's a binary choice, like who are you sending, and they will die. Like, it doesn't matter that they're good at like crawling through vents or turning off alarms. Like you're trying to attach a person to the job in Mass Effect 2,
Yep.
And this is not that. But what I think they were going for here, and whether or not I'm defending this or not, I think it's up to interpretation or whatever. Is they were going for stakes. Like we want there to be stakes, and it was at the cost of choice. And like whether or not like that lands good with you is going to be in the eye of the beholder. I think.
Yeah, like I'm not like furious about it, but it just kind of
you
didn't
can see
sit well.
You can see the mechanics in the background.
Like
just and like suddenly the game that kind of touts itself as like a game about choice becomes. What Mass Effect 3 kind of got like the shaft for, like when people got like turned on it, when it was just like, this is a binary choice. Like, even though I have 4 choices here, like it's either like this or that, and I think people just didn't like that. And it's like, you made that decision again? Like, that's kind of interesting.
But again, it also just hurts because I liked that character and the little Griffin companion. So like that's kind of just what adds, the sting, the extra sting to that.
A good death can be good though, like sometimes.
Yeah, I mean so he's not dying needlessly. He's sacrificing himself to kill one of the main bad guys. So like it means something, but it's still kind of like, oh, like that sucks. But again, the element of kind of feeling forced in a game.
There is interesting that like again, like getting a perfect run in Mass Effect 2 is kind of like you want to do the suicide mission and get everybody back, including your nameless crew members, and like it does kind of feel like there's no way to get like a purely happy ending in this game, which again, like that might be fun for some people, and other people you might feel a little robbed,
Yeah. I did get the best ending though, because I made sure to get the was it
talk to the god?
Yeah, that god, and I got like the little statue thing, and then that helps make the choice at the end. So, and I did do the all the right
that
stuff.
moment where it's like, you kind of get to like talk someone into like changing, like Saren, like at the end of the you can talk him into just shooting himself, which is like the greatest way
like,
to
hey, you should probably sacrifice yourself.
You suck, and you suck. He's like, you're right, and like I get the main bad guy of the game, like I'm being really reductive. It's a really cool moment.
Sure.
Like, it seemed like they were trying to go for something like that again too.
But it makes sense in this game because Solus, a lot of the whole history of like what's going on here. He's very much intrinsically tied to all of that, and he does have, like he did stuff that he shouldn't have done. So it does make sense to kind of be like, listen, buddy, like you should probably kind of like jump on the sword here because you made some choices. I mean, I get you're trying to redeem yourself, but also
but it's you're
kind of like
the cost of like everybody's lives that you're trying to redeem
right
yourself.
Yeah. So
I think they did good with his story. Solus is like one of my favorite characters in gaming, and I didn't want them to like rob him of his like, I don't know, complicated nature, and I feel like things felt still very complicated when he died. I think it just kind of kept that that vibe.
Yeah.
So.
Because he has like he's kind of like basically the Loki of the series. Like that's basically what he is.
He's basically.
Which is cool. So. But yeah, again, like the game overall, it was just those things at the end. Oh, and then there's the other big second choice that you can make where you're sort of like potentially sacrificing somebody, but as long as again you do their side missions, like that person's actually going to be okay. But yeah, overall, I like the game. I think it's solid. It's the action combat is solid. It's not doing anything crazy, throwing curveballs at you, but it's solid. It feels good. And yeah. The game has some nice vistas too. I think there's actually some really nice environments. A lot of like I forget the name of the wooded area, but that has some really beautiful kind of like ethereal sort of like spiritually like lit up like areas that just looks really cool in the background. It's just like looks really magical and like just really nice. So
some good backdrop.
Good.
The Woke Woods, I think it's called.
Woke Wood. That's exactly what it's called. Yeah.
God damn it, Tim. Damn it. God damn it.
Your hair turns blue automatically when you're walking through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so I finished
Wait,
that.
hang on.
And then
that's the only place in the game where your choices are no longer binary. All right, keep going, Dan.
There we go.
Dan doesn't like it. No, Dan, I'm kidding. Dan, come back. Dan.
All right, so then now I dive into something a little shorter because that's what I like to do when I play a longer game. So I finally dove into Signalis.
Oh, sweet.
I don't know if either of you know of Signalis.
Yeah, it's like a PS1 era looking thing.
Yeah, so it has it's like
right?
I
played a demo.
Is it what?
Spooky game, right? Like horror.
Yeah. It's like sci-fi. Yeah, it's in space. It's sci-fi.
Overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. That's like a darling. Yeah.
So it's like an isometric type of like Resident Evil, Silent Hill-esque, like PlayStation 1 era looking, but like sharp polygons.
Cool animations.
So as I'm it's awesome that I actually finally got to play a Silent Hill game front to back because the sort of like vibes of this game
Oh, you see its
are very
DNA
Silent
now.
Hill.
Yeah, you're like Neo seeing the Matrix. Now you can see the
Yeah.
Silent Hill like DNA
That's
all
right.
over everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because Silent Hill is more psychological, whereas Resident Evil is just kind of like just more like straight up horror in your face. And in my head at first, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be like a Resident Evil, right? Because like even right in the beginning of the game, like you find this key card that's like snapped in half, and you're like, oh, I gotta put it together. So you find some adhesive, and then you tape the card, and now you can use the card. Very Resident Evil. But as you start going through the game, there's definitely a very heavy psychological element going on here.
Oh yeah.
Which is part of the mystery, how it's all tied in. Like, why are you on this like snowy planet? You're on a ship. You wake up on a ship, so then you leave the ship, and then you kind of like crawl over to like this structure, and then you go down these stairs, and then things start getting really weird. There's a lot of like German stuff, German-esque. I think it's German. I don't actually know what language it is, but like imagery and words and like lights flashing and things happening. But yeah, it's very. So I actually apparently beat it earlier today. I didn't realize I was gonna beat it, but it's one of those games of like you beat the game ? So you continue, and then it actually like kind of like circles back. So there's multiple endings with the game.
You know what game was the most like that? Was 12 minutes. Anyway, that one was like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
I beat that game.
That game.
Did you though?
I did. I think. Wait. Yeah.
I
I got like the perfect ending or whatever.
Yeah, which takes a while.
Okay.
You have to like
It
have
does,
a lot of
yeah.
outcomes. You're like, oh.
Yeah. There's a lot of trial and error that I totally didn't look up online. So
Sure.
I wonder if Signalis has that many different. Of course, not that many, but like that many branches of how things go. Like you're making choices throughout.
It's 5, I believe, altogether. So because I was legitimately confused because it just kind of seemed like it came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, I beat the game.
Yeah.
So I was like looking it up, and I was like, what's happening? And then I start to like realize, I'm like, oh, and then I like hit continue. I hit continue, and then it like kind of like I was like, oh, I see what's going on.
Reminds me of Nier Automata too, kind of the way you're talking about it, where you're like you pick up from like your last game save and like, oh, I'm playing as the boy now. That's weird. You know, obviously you don't switch characters, but like multiple endings to go after.
There's a little bit of that, yeah. But I guess it's dependent on how you play the game, which is actually pretty wild. So like depending on if you're trying to not really shoot a lot of things, if you're trying to like dodge enemies a lot, or how much you're healing or not healing apparently plays
limited
into
inventory too, right?
Yeah, and that's my one gripe, and it's more of a nitpicky thing. It didn't make me dislike my experience, but like with Resident Evil, like you can find things that expands your inventory, right? So that's kind of like I like that element. That's not going on here. Like you just have 6 slots, and
stays that way.
You're doing a lot of backtracking of like, let me go back and dump this thing, and then go back. So there is that, and if that's something that bothers you, then there is a decent amount of that going on here. But the vibes of this game are just excellent, and the music is very creepy. A lot of just like quiet, but then kind of like little hums of sounds, and then it crescendos, and it goes. And the enemies have really creepy sounds that they're doing too.
That's pretty cool though.
The save screen, again, back to Silent Hill. It's like a old computer monitor, and the screen's just red. And when you go up to it, the entire screen flashes red. And then you're just like so very similar to Silent Hill 2, because he go up to a save, and then it's just like a red screen, but you see his face. So also kind of even like that homage to Silent Hill there is actually pretty cute. So I don't want to say too much, just because I feel like this is a game that if you like horror games and you don't like you don't mind a little bit of like kind of those quirks of like, again, like having to backtrack to like go back to your inventory and deposit stuff and things like that. I think it's just something that just dive into it, because it's really cool. It's not super long. It's like a 9-hour game.
Okay.
It sounds like a cool like old school experience if you're looking for like a throwback.
Yes.
Experience.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I don't
it's
mind
a very interesting
backtracking
game.
in some games. I have found myself being totally willing to do it, but I get it if people get irritated by it. If you're really enjoying the game and the world and the place, then maybe the backtracking isn't as annoying. It just depends on the game.
Yeah.
For the most, like I played Tales of Iron 2 had a lot of going back to same areas to fight bosses that have moved and like whatever.
Sure.
I found myself going back to the same areas a lot in that game, and I was loving it. I was like, to me it felt like more like Monster Hunter. Sometimes Monster Hunter if you're not in the right mode, you can be like, man, they're sending me to the same place over and over again. It's like, yeah,
I'm in the jungle fighting this, Stegosaurus again. Yeah.
yeah, that's what you're doing. You're hunting
Yeah.
monsters.
Yeah, and the only other gripe would be some of the puzzles are, I don't know, I feel like a little obtuse. So I
Okay.
did have to kind of just like look up like what am I really actually doing, which I don't usually do. So like
Dan
this
had
one
to look
was
up a
kind of throwing me
guide?
off.
Wow, you used a what? A
had to-
guide?
I had to look up some stuff.
Wow.
Dang.
But yeah,
In one
I would
episode,
definitely.
he declared he didn't use a guide, and now he's saying he does.
What a turnaround.
I didn't
Wow,
say never.
what a heel turn. Yeah.
I didn't say never.
The hero of the podcast.
Listen, I didn't need a guy to beat Sekiro. All right, so get wrecked.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
I can look up all the guides I want for
You
Sekiro.
fought all the hidden enemies in that game? without a
Actually, I
guide?
don't know if I did. I don't
A
remember.
guide would tell you if you did or not.
Yeah, that's true. Good thing I didn't know.
A guide would tell you.
But yeah, absolutely. Like if you're just a fan of horror video games,
Sick.
give this a try. Unless you're also just maybe you're like one of those people like I like prettier, I like new horror game. Like because again, the aesthetic is very
It's grimy.
classic.
It's got like this grimy,
Yeah,
pixely look to it, which is cool.
yeah. It's sharp, but it's pixely. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting looking game for sure. So,
Nice. Well, good for you for playing.
that is all.
Kind of like giving yourself a palate cleanser of a shorter game. I think that's important to do in between those big games.
Yeah, I like to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Kind of weave things in and out.
I'm doing the opposite. I was playing a huge game, still am, and I'm playing another huge game at the same time. It's ridiculous. It's silly. I don't know what I'm doing, but
It's whatever you want to do, you know? It's
whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So I finished the main story of Red Dead Redemption 2. Finally, I kind of made peace with the fact that it's time to get to the epilogue. You've done everything that you can. I still feel sensitive to spoil exactly what happens, but I'll just say even I know it's an older game, but a lot of people haven't finished this game. I've learned over the years, so they don't
Yeah.
really
Long
know how
game.
it plays.
I like one of my friends just played it like 2 months ago for the first time ever, and I was like,
Wow.
"Did anything get spoiled for you?" He goes, "No, dude," and I was just like, "Dude,
Nice. Nice.
I will say that, and I think I said this several times. Anytime this game has come up, I think Arthur Morgan is my favorite video game character, maybe ever. I just think he's such a good character. He's got so much depth. Legitimately goes through the redemption arc throughout the game. Like at the beginning, you're cool cowboy guy at the beginning, but he's also pretty ruthless, which is kind of what spins the wheels into motion of what ends up happening to him at the end. Is how ruthless he was and how much he didn't have a lot of redeeming qualities outside of the fact I thought he was cool and I liked his quick wit and stuff like that. But throughout the game, he becomes, and it's not softer, he actually becomes stronger in a lot of ways as he finally stands up to Dutch and all this other stuff. I loved it, man. I saw the arc more clearly this time. I was paying more attention. I did a lot more of the optional stuff. So many really good side quest lines that you can go through. I really love collecting the money. It's optional, but you can collect the money that's owed to the gang at the end. It's such a different experience than the beginning. At the beginning, you're like, you have two options. Do you want to choke him or beat him? You know what I mean? Like it's like you don't have any options to get the money from him.
Choke him or beat him.
I mean,
or both.
Yeah, they're both not good. And then by the end, you get options like, do you want to absolve the debt or absolve the debt and give them some money to help them out? You know what I mean? Like it's the options become the opposite. And so I just loved it, man.
But it makes so much more sense to like absolve and
Yes.
even get like, what do you need money? Where you're going, you don't need money.
Yeah,
so
that's right. That's right.
I don't know. So I feel like a lot of those mechanics and choices feed directly into the story. If you're
And
like,
he says it too, right? He'll say like, I don't need this. Like where I'm going.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I loved it. And I can confirm that it works to do the Aberdeen pig farm trick. So when I first played this game, there was this house that I stumbled upon that had a super overweight guy with just overalls on. So he already was like shirtless underneath and gigantic. And he was like, hey there, buddy. Hey, come on in. Have some dinner. And I was like, nope. And so I like hightailed it out of there. Never thought about it again. Well, it turns out when you're ready to do the last two missions of the game, and they string together, so you have to do it before the last two missions of the game, you go to the Aberdeen pig farm, let them like go inside and be fooled by them. They're clearly going to hurt you. You can tell from start to finish. I've seen this in every movie. This couple is evil. They're going to kill you. So anyway, of course they drug you and you pass out. And of course they rob you. And then you're like left in this pit to die. And right away Arthur says, I'm going to go back and have a word with them. Or I'm going to go find, like, whatever. He's going to go back, and that's how you go back and get your money. If you leave it, go finish the game, then there's after the linear section of the epilogue, there's a good chunk of missions that are linear in the epilogue that you kind of have to stick around an area. But once it opens back up to you and you start to get missions in Valentine and farther away, then you go back to the farm and explore that house. They're not there anymore, but there's a secret in that house, and the exact amount of money that they stole from you in the main game.
That's funny.
There. Yeah, that's the only way to pass.
Like they
along
just
your
like
cash.
left it behind too, which is weird. Like
I know. That's the only way to get back that exact amount of cash. Otherwise, I mean, in the epilogue, there are plenty of ways and even storyline ways to get a lot of money if you just follow the storyline. But it was still nice because I think I had like $7,000 when I ended the main story, and I was like, well, I don't want this just to go away. I was already mad enough that I was going to lose my horses. You know, I had all these cool horses, and none of those carry over. So anyway, but I love it. I forgot how. I didn't really forget, I guess, but I'm just reminded on this playthrough how intense and well written that whole final sequence is, as things are building up and as people are getting pulled different directions, and it's just chaos. And that's where you really, because Dutch Vanderland in the first game and in the second game always comes across as verbally very confident and I have a plan. And then as this game, as everything comes undone, you're like, he never had a plan.
Yeah, he's
like,
a cult leader. I mean,
a cult leader, but he's also he's so fearful.
as...
Like he is a very scared person.
Yeah,
and like I kind of loved seeing that side of Dutch, where it's like,
well, and
he's a villain.
There's like, you can see it like where I'm at in the game right now, because I'm slowly working my way through it too. Like there's a moment where he just like becomes sloppy and he never gets out of that. Like
that's right.
Like it just every decision he makes is like the worst decision. Like robbing that stagecoach like thing. Like we're just gonna go rob it. What's the plan? We're gonna go in there. And it's like, what do you mean?
But then as it turns to anger and accusation the moment someone raises the fact that was a bad choice, we should do something different. Like he has a weird combination of fear, but also like he refuses to be criticized, which is, to me, it's just painting a picture of a perfect picture of a toxic leader. Someone who's in charge, who makes the calls, but everything they're doing, everyone around them knows this is not what we should be doing. We're going to all fall apart. This business is going to collapse or whatever. So they really did a good job of that start to finish. And I'm excited in the epilogue now to get to that final sequence. It does make the way that his story, and let's be honest, life wraps up in the first game. The way it's very kind of unceremonious. It's kind of, he's like in his underwear. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a heroic end for him.
It makes it so perfect. Like,
it makes it so much sweeter now.
You played that game recently too. I just played it last year as well, and I was just like,
yes.
Whoa! They made it better. Like it made the writing better of that game. It made the ending better of that game. Everything was better because of what this game did.
That's right.
You know, and I agree with that. Like when the way that he dies, it's
no one. It's only one person
Yeah.
sees him, and it's of course the main character of one, which is John Marston, is the only person who sees him go. He doesn't get to be a hero. He doesn't get to give a big speech or anything. Like, he kind of gives a speech to John, but John doesn't buy any of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of glorious that because towards the end of 2, when you're in your last camp spot, he'll stand there in front of his tent, and they do a good job of this. In the beginning, everyone gathers when Dutch starts speaking. Everyone's up there listening to him. And by the end, he's standing there speaking. No one's listening.
Yeah.
He's like, everyone, we're almost there. The new world, and no one's listening. There.
Well, and like his idea of like getting away gets more and more bigger and unreachable. He's like, we're gonna go to Australia, and I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you couldn't even get east. Like, you couldn't even get west or whatever. Like, you couldn't even like get to where you wanted to be in this country. Like, now you want to like try and start over halfway across the world. You know, like it's it's interesting. It's a good game.
It really comes to a head at this part where he, of course, has one more job. And then as he actually gets to what is finally the one more job, and Arthur just basically makes a case for him letting any of the women and children in camp go and be safe, because they're coming after us. So let them go. And then Dutch isn't listening. Of course, he's just kind of like, Arthur, this is it. After this, we're going to be free. And he says, but I must insist we let them go. And Dutch can't let the word insist go. I never picked up on that my first time playing it. He says it like 4 times throughout the rest of that mission when you're talking to him. He's like, is there anything else you insist, Arthur? Like he keeps saying it.
Yeah, it
And I'm
really
just like,
bothered him.
what a petty dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love it because it feels
Yeah.
realistic. It
Yeah.
feels like people that
Sure.
I've seen in real life. And I'm like, oh, they're the
Oh, sure.
worst. Yeah, that's him. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing about before you move on to your next thing, like if you just think about like how good Red Dead Redemption 2 is, especially
Yeah.
the storytelling, and then you think about GTA 5, pretty good story, not as good as this, you know.
right.
Like it's just the
But good
lessons that they
characters, right?
learn.
Good characters.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. But the lessons that they learn, the way that they established the open world between those two games, GTA 5 and Resident Evil 2, Red Dead Redemption 2,
Mhm.
just the way that the world unfolds, the way that you interact with the world, the depth of the world, the depth of the story and characters, like
Yep.
the growth from those two games. GTA 6 is going to be incredible,
It
right?
better
I
be.
mean, like
My expectations are so
yeah,
high.
like it's so insane. Like
Yeah.
it's not like they learned nothing from
Right.
Red Dead Redemption 2. So I
Right.
just wow, I just can't wait to see like the evolution of this formula.
Yep.
Where do we go?
Yeah, I am very excited for it. And the epilogue is pretty intriguing too, like just the storyline
Yeah.
of what you guys are going through and the fallout from it, and then the way they kind of reference back to things from the main story. But it also just emphasizes, as invested as I was in that story, in those characters, the epilogue takes place, I think, in Conversations you learn it's about 7 or 8 years later, give or take, in the epilogue, and the world has totally moved on. Like none of that matters anymore. Like there's similar struggles, but it's just if you died, you're dead. Like you're gone, and
Yeah,
the world has
yeah.
just
No
moved on.
no songs about you or anything.
Yeah, it's that there's an element of that too that I kind of like, the harsh reality of life back then too.
Yeah. Well, and again, like you get kind of into a motion of kind of what like John's life is like in the epilogue. It kind of
Right.
makes the first game better because he gets stripped away from that life to
That's right.
become something he used to be. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just whew, man.
Yeah, totally agree. And I will recommend this
Oh.
as many. There's a bunch of the side quests with Arthur that are great to finish because he starts to build a good rapport with a bunch of these side characters. And then if you go revisit those characters later after everything's happened, there's some fun and kind of just sweet interactions with those characters, like thinking back on their time with Arthur or whatever. So it's really, really cool the way they do that, especially the widow that you help out. Like going back to visit her was really cool.
Yeah.
But from a gameplay perspective, getting a really good horse, I just followed someone online, didn't give all the details. They just said, if you want a really good horse for the epilogue, and if you have enough horses for the main game, save this one. It's this veteran guy. He lives up by that lake in the mountains. He's missing a leg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't do his 4th part. He has 4 missions. So just save part 4 for the epilogue, and then you'll still be able to have a good conversation about Arthur, and you get an awesome horse out of that mission. So,
Cool. Nice.
but if you do it with Arthur, all
It's
them
his horse.
horses are gone. So
That's a shame.
they gone. So anyway, what a good game. So I'm still navigating my way through that. Of course, really, really loving it. But and also I never really explored the original area too much in the epilogue, like down there by Blackwater and down in the desert. I kind of, by the time I finished it, I moved on to other games. I just kind of flew through the epilogue and wrapped it up. But now I really do want to go and do some of the legendary hunts that I totally missed. I'm sure there's other stuff to do down there too that I never did with John at the end. So
Game is huge.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it's incredible,
insanely
It still to this day feels like the biggest game ever made to me.
right.
Yeah.
I agree. I love it. So it's really just 2 games. It's that, and it is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I did not have on my bingo card as a Tim game this year. I just didn't. I had tried the first game, fell off it really quickly. It just was like, this isn't for me. The perspective was bad enough, but then I just thought the gameplay was too steep for me to learn it, So I don't know how many hours do I have in this one now. It's a lot. I've played this game a lot. Kyle, you've played it a bunch too, right?
Yeah. It's like just under 20 hours, I think, for me.
I know I had it paused a couple of times when I would have to do other stuff. So I don't know if it's a totally accurate playtime count, but it's putting me at 27 hours so far.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
It's a lot. So,
Just came out a little while ago. Yeah.
but you know what's funny? I still haven't even done the main wedding mission that's at the beginning.
Me
Like,
neither. Yeah. Is that supposed to be the end of the game?
no,
I don't.
no.
No, are you supposed to get to that quick?
I think it's early in the story.
I'm multiple reviews were just like, you get to do this really like cute like wedding thing at the beginning of the game, and I'm like, I am nowhere near getting to that mission. So
No.
it's like, but people did call it the beginning of the game. So
I think it's the
That's
beginning
funny.
because I think this is like considered the first area of the game. There's other areas to go through. So I'm already buckling in for like, you know what? I'm going to blame this game for so many other games that I'm going to skip. It's going to be this game's fault. So Kyle, how are you spending most of your time? Because it sounds like we're in the same boat where the world is just so compelling and interesting, and the characters and side quests. And I'm not exaggerating when I say I am understanding the comparisons to Witcher 3 a lot. I really get it. But like, what are you spending your time doing? Are you just kind of exploring? Are you trying to level up certain stats? Like, what are you spending your time doing in this game?
So I am doing a everything but the main mission, as we just kind of joked about. I think that the game, unlike Avowed, where it kind of feels like you're like on a really straight track, you are on that straight track at the beginning of this game as well, but it doesn't feel that way. If that makes any sense, you know.
Up until you're in the stockades, and then after the stockade moment, it literally leaves you there with nothing and no one.
Yeah, leaves it nothing with no station, no clothes.
And
on
they
your
don't even
back,
tell you
no
where to
weapon.
go. Like, give you a couple.
No, it's so overwhelming.
You're like, where do I go? I have no money. Everyone's telling me to put clothes on. I got no clothes. Like, you have nothing.
Yeah,
I'm just
it is
standing
funny.
here
Yeah,
naked.
people treat you different depending on what you're wearing. You know, like
They do. They're like, get out of here, you dirty vagrant.
Even if you show up like with like nice clothes on, but you're dirty, they're like, I don't want to talk to you. If you're smelly, people don't want to talk to you. This is an immersive sim, and like because I know it's an immersive sim, it makes me not want to progress the story at all.
Dude,
it makes me want to go like find the barriers of the world and what it's allowing me to do.
Yeah.
And like there's stuff like my buddy, he was like playing like dice, all right, with somebody, and it kept on losing to them, and like they were playing dice outside their house, so we knew he lived there. He's playing a thief. He's a sneaky thief. He's breaking every law, breaking every rule. He's been branded. Everybody in the game hates him.
You can get branded if you get caught, by the way.
Yeah,
Dan.
you get branded if you do something like horrible.
And then people will see it, and it can either be an intimidation thing or a detriment to you. Either way.
And he broke into these people's houses that were like beating him at dice, stole their lucky dice, stole all their clothes, and then when they walked out the next morning, they were in their like pajamas and underwear, and like being like, I don't know what happened, you know, and like and then you ask to play dice with them, and then you use their dice against them to win, and like that's just like 2% of people experience that. It's not a mission. That's just a little mini game, you know. And he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna ruin these people's lives because they took so much money from me.
Yep.
And like I'm being a goody two shoes. Like I'm a knight. I'm chivalrous, you know. I want to help everybody. So like he's playing a much different game than me.
Yeah.
But the fact that like you can do that is amazing, you know. And like so what I'm doing now, Tim, is like I must have spent the first hour and a half of the what they're like, here's alchemy, and I went to a meadow and picked up a bunch of flowers.
Right? There's a little shack where you can do it, and you can just go gather all the herbs you need and just start
I just sat
crafting.
there for like an hour and a half, like making. I spec'd it once I realized I liked alchemy, which the alchemy is amazing in this game.
Fun.
I was like, I'm just gonna keep
It's
making
like potions class in Harry Potter. Like,
it is, yeah, but you can sell them. It's a lucrative like side hustle to get you some money in your pocket. You know, I will say that like if you're trying to make money, just start doing missions. That's how you get money. I was putting off doing missions for a while because I was just like, I'm just gonna keep crafting, which is good because I ended up getting a lot of experience.
So traders run out of money, and so you have to wait for a while for them to get money back.
And everything you do, like in Skyrim, it's like, oh, did you make a sword? Your blacksmithing went up. Oh, did you swing your sword? Your attack went up.
Love that shit so much.
It's so good.
You love the progression in this, Dan. Everything you do. Pet your horse, horsemanship goes up a little bit. Like all of it.
If you talk to somebody, your speech goes up. If you buy something, your mercantile goes up. It's just everything.
And you also find books where you can spend time studying them, and then that'll make certain skills go up.
Learn stuff, but like you have to spend
so
time.
Elder Scrolls.
Like, you have to spend in like whereas Elder Scrolls you just read it and you get it. Like this, you're choosing to spend time.
How many hours do you want to spend studying?
Progress in the world, and like it matters. Like when you're doing stuff, like when you're out on the roads at night, you can't see anything. There's no light, you know. So it's like it
Dragon's
matters.
Dogma.
It matters that absolutely. It matters that you're burning daylight, and if like you're not near somewhere where you can pay to sleep or have a bed somewhere, like that matters. Like you're gonna have to just kind of wait there and like
Or maybe find a
spend
camp
time another
along the
way.
road that hopefully is safe.
Maybe find a camp
Yeah.
on the road, but you can get ambushed on the road.
Mhm.
Did we talk about
Sure.
fast travel last time, where like you fast travel from one place to another,
No, we
and
didn't.
like an event can just happen.
Yeah.
So like
So
you get
you
an
look
Indiana
like
Jones
Dan, you like a
map
good
thing.
overworld map, right?
Yeah,
So it goes to
yeah.
this
Oh,
map and you're a
absolutely.
little like toy figurine, like almost like a board game.
Ah,
It's like
And then
moving.
you
Yep.
can select, like when you uncover certain areas or villages or something, a little blue shield will appear on the map, which indicates this is a named area, and those are the places you can fast travel to from wherever you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
But along the way, usually at least once between every destination, sometimes you'll get lucky and you don't get any, but it'll stop you and say, you see two men hunched over a dead body on the road. Do you want to stop or do you want to try to go around them? And it'll give you a percentage of whether or not you can get around them.
Okay.
Usually I stop, like Kyle said, I started picking stop every time because now that I'm getting into the swing of things with fighting and I actually have some pretty decent gear to fight, that's a great way to get money is you just take out these
Yeah.
bandits and then loot their money. Or
Yeah.
sometimes they'll even have a really good piece of gear. You just
Yeah.
grab that and then run sell it because it doesn't count as stealing if it's from bandits. It only counts as steal. So if you break into a house, which by the way, any house or building can be broken into. So you can break into a house, you can rob them, you can up your stealth skill and all that kind of thievery skill. You have all these extra skills you can learn. And you rob stuff from people, but then it'll have this little red hand in your inventory on that item, which means
Yeah.
that for at least a certain length of time, that if they see you wearing it or presenting it publicly, you're going to get arrested or chased or something. Now, you can up your thievery skill to the point. I saw this perk, I just didn't purchase it yet, where it actually will show you if it's red in certain towns. Like a sword you stole from town A, town B over here isn't going to know that was a sword that was stolen.
Sure.
So like there you can flaunt it, but back in town A
Yeah.
you can't. So little thing like that happened
Smart.
to me. I did a mission where I returned this poacher out in the woods to the bailiff because I wanted to make money. So I did that, but I had just gotten a sword from a mission where I robbed the bailiff's whole like
No.
barracks, and I got this awesome longsword. I was two-handing this longsword, and it's just so good. I forgot to unequip it. So as soon as the cutscene was over, the guy gets hanged, and then it cuts to me like, okay, you can leave. All of a sudden, the bailiff starts trying to he squares up, starts like trying to fight me, and
Squares up.
I thought the game was glitching. I was like,
Why I oughta.
oh no! But then he goes like you stole that sword. Now you have basically you have the balls to like show up here wearing it, and I was like, oh, I forgot I stole your sword. So like I basically at that point paid the fine, which was not
Sure.
a little bit, and then he searches me for anything else I've stolen. So he took a bunch of herbs and like some other stuff
no.
because it's marked in your at least for a certain amount of time. I forget.
Like
There's
Skyrim, like in Skyrim, Dan, like it has like the red hand.
Yep.
a
icon
certain
next
number of
to it.
days or whatever. So
Yep.
those little moments I can see why games like Skyrim are so beloved because you get lost in the immersion of this world. I have now gotten to the point where if I see a horse that no one's around, I'll grab it, I'll ride it to the nomads camp and sell it because that's an easy 300-400 monies right there.
Is it really that worth that much?
Yeah.
Never done that. Yeah. You and my buddy are being like bad boys. Y'all are being like bad. Y'all
Sometimes.
naughty.
Sometimes.
Tim's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. He's like, I'm stealing herbs from people. I don't. That's how petty I am.
They have all these mini games. So there's you
Yep.
talk about alchemy, which is really fun. You follow the directions, or you can experiment and just try things. And sometimes you get lucky and unlock a recipe, or you go buy recipes. You might find them around the world. You might get them for a quest reward, or you can just look online. People online have full list of recipes if you want to just make them. That's fine.
That's easy experience. Yeah.
You can do that. But and by the way, with alchemy, what I did was I did the marigold decoction, which is two really easy to find herbs and water, and you make it really fast. And so I did that, and I upped it to level 16 within like 10-15 minutes.
Yep.
And then you unlock this perk where now you can make Henry's version of those potions, which is like even better than strong. So it's like the top tier of those potions. They sell for a lot. So
you can do the same thing with blacksmithing too. You get a Henry level of blacksmithing.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it's the perfect, piece of armor or weapon or whatever.
That's awesome.
It's considered a grade 4. I think you can like make up to 3.
Okay.
Like a level 3 like piece of armor or whatever.
Man, that's a good way to make money. It's a good way to like gear yourself up with really good stuff. I think Kyle, you mentioned this. There was this drunk storyteller who, if you give him some booze, he'll tell you a story while you're sitting there outside the bar or the tavern. and he told me a story about this goblin with the silver axe. It was actually a really interesting.
That's the one I did.
story.
Yeah, the silver axe one.
Did you
yeah.
go get it?
No, not yet. I'm in that area because that's where the dog is, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Is trying to get
You
my
can
puppy back.
absolutely go get it. You can dig it up, you bring it back, and you fix it up, and now you've got this really awesome adorned axe that's really good. And so little things like that become bigger things. The next thing you know, you spent like 3 hours doing none of the main story because you're just doing all this stuff. And I'm totally loving it, whether it's tracking down poachers, or they told me a story about this wild woman who's living out in the woods, and I went and investigated, and it turns out someone killed her. So now I got to go figure out like who killed her. And so like all kinds of crazy stuff that have nothing to do with the main story. I feel like I'm playing The Witcher 3 again.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And by the way, I don't like the first person perspective. It's not my favorite. But the more I'm playing this, the more I'm like, I like it for this game. It's working for me for this game. It really is working. And I will say, the Wild Strikes move, no, not Master Strike. The Master Strikes move is so worth it. Fighting the guy in the Nomad camp to get it is tough. Like he's a tough fight.
Yeah, he's beaten me enough times where I'm like, I'm gonna come back to this.
But it changes the way that I fight, just with swords. I don't think it works with everything.
Yeah.
I think it just works with swords. But there's a parry system where like a green shield will pop up, and if you hit it at the right time, you can do a regular parry or a perfect parry, and then you might have a chance to hit them. But usually, if the enemies are any good, they'll keep parrying you. So then you go back and forth, and then you run out of stamina, and then they'll get a hit in on you, and it's like, why do I suck at this combat? Well, you got to really look for openings and learn when to dodge. And if you get Master Strikes, instead of parrying, you hit attack, and he'll actually do like this thing where he uses his sword to move their shield out of the way and then stab them real quick. Like it's this crazy quick move where
Like it stabs like in the throat. I think I've seen like
it's a really, and if their health is low enough, it's a final blow and it kills them real quick.
Cool.
So as soon as I got that, I was like, do I love this game? I thought I liked this game. I think now I love this game. And so the next thing is I want to learn pole arms. Like I feel like someone who's talking about Skyrim, because I've heard Skyrim talked about for years and it never really clicked for me the way it did for other people. But now I'm kind of like, oh, I get it. I get it. Like if you get into the groove of the gameplay and obey the game's rules and play by their rules, you're going to have so much fun. And that's kind of where I am with this game right now. There's 2 quest lines where you can get into this wedding, which is one of the early main things you're trying to do. They tell you why, but you're trying to get into this wedding, so you have access to someone. And so you can either go with blacksmith or miller. So I did all the blacksmith quests, and I'm ready to have him take me, but I wanted to go see the miller quests. So now I'm finishing those up before I pick which guy I want to get me into the wedding.
Yeah. So, the Miller guy's a little sketchy, so I don't, my good boy run.
He's teaching you a lot of like stealth and thieving stuff for sure.
He's also like, hey, do you want to get into fist fights with my farm hands, and I'll and I did that too, where it's like, you did so good, I'm gonna sponsor you in a fist fight underground club. I'm like, all right, cool.
Fight club.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, man, I'm absolutely loving it, and it is funny too. There's been a number of times where I'm like,
it's very funny.
It's
a very
writing.
funny game. Yeah.
I don't know. This game has no business being this good, but I felt that way about Witcher 3 as well. I was like, what is this CD Projekt Red team? Who do they think they are making a game this good? Like, it has very similar vibes with this Warhorse team.
And there's such a lean into like not relying on just its combat, because its combat is very you have to really it's slow, you have to, it's really purposeful and methodical stuff like that. And it's not something they're like, oh, everyone's going to be wanting to do this for 100 hours. There are hours where I've not even had my sword out. Where you're hanging out with drunk dudes, crawling up a mountain, you're doing all these other stuff. Like there's a lean into just having fun with the side quests. I've almost never just fetched something where it's like, I need 10 of these, and if there has been, it's not that annoying, but like I just feel like they're always doing something structurally with the quests that's just like, I don't know, that other like open world games never do. Like they just rely on kind of like the formula that we always know of. And like this game, it just feels like it's doing something different.
Yep. I feel like the writers and devs for this game must have played a lot of Witcher 3, because some of the storylines have no business being as involved and intricate. Like where a girl goes missing. Oh, she was dating this boy. Oh, they're probably just making out down by the pond. Oh, wait, there's blood down here by the pond. Someone was killed. Wait, the boy's dead. Did she kill him? No, wait, there was these other boys who work for a guy who hates her grandmother, and they think that if they kill the girl and her boyfriend, the guy will like them and let them marry his daughters. It becomes so involved.
That sounds very
Yeah.
Witcher.
And it
That
just
sounds
started
very
with
Witcher.
like, hey, my daughter's missing.
My
Can you
daughter's
find
missing.
her? Yeah, and you're
Right.
like,
And
I just unraveled something crazy.
there's like a
here.
pregnancy involved, and you can either choose to kill one or the other, or maybe try to help them
Jesus.
come back together and like resolve it together. Or there's lots of ways you can have the two farmhands who killed the boy hanged or forgiven. Like it's very much you get to pick, and it doesn't tell you like, oh, you're a good boy or you're a bad boy. It's all nuanced. It doesn't. There's not like a little
Yeah.
meter at the bottom like Red Dead Redemption
Yeah,
2.
there's no like devil like
Yeah,
icon.
you're not
that pops
growing
up
devil
or anything
horns.
like that,
It's
yeah.
like either choice is actually not really good or bad. Like technically
Yeah.
they
Sure.
deserve justice for what they did, but also you might empathize with where they were coming from and how it got there. So it's both. That's how I felt with Witcher 3.
Did you do the mission where you found the blacksmith's cart or whatever
Yeah.
that was on its way? That
Yeah.
was a great. I love that mission. Yeah.
Well, even
Like
the whole ride with those two guys was awesome.
That's what I mean. Like, there's this. It's like 20 minutes of just like you like
Talking.
horseback riding, and like talking, and it's just so cool. And it's like, hey, I want to stop. I want to test you real quick. Let's have a little skirmish, you know. And
Yeah.
it's like, if you win, you get a really good shield, you know,
Yeah,
which
you do.
I reloaded like 100 times because that fight was tough for me. But I finally like that's actually the fight
And
where
a
I was just
useless
like,
cudgel that I don't use at all, but the shield
yeah,
is good.
I've never used it again. But that was actually the fight where I was just like, oh, I think I just taught myself how to fight in this game.
Yeah.
Because I kept on doing that one over and over again.
Yep.
But then where that goes and like how you, I don't know, how you unravel like who's behind the stealing of the cart and just like fighting with other NPCs and taking a perch spot and learning how to use the crossbow. It's just like there's just
Yeah.
it's almost like the game is it's like that's part of a tutorial. It's almost a tutorial mission. It's showing you all these new
Yeah.
mechanics, but it doesn't feel that way at all. It feels like you're just doing this really cool, unique mission. And I'm telling you, man, it's some of the best game design I've seen in a video game in a very
Same.
long time.
That
Yeah.
whole sequence made me start to really fall in love with the characters because that old lord and the old knight who protects him, they have a lot of history together. They're very
Yep.
funny. They're kind of making fun of each other, but they both are like, they're both really nice to you, this new guy who they don't really know.
Yeah.
But you prove yourself on that quest with them. And
talk about their kind of like crappy son who's like
Yeah.
stuck up and spoiled, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
dude, I'm so enjoying this game. It feels very much like they've just plopped you into this medieval world and you have to find your way. And they do a good job of establishing why you're starting from scratch with your skills. Like
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of dumb versions of them. You're super powered and then you get drained of all those for whatever reason.
Mhm.
This one, they do a good job of it. And so
It makes sense to me. Yeah.
JRPG amnesia.
the
Yeah.
amnesia thing, right?
Yeah, the
right.
amnesia thing.
Or
yeah.
with
I
Metroid.
forgot how to swing a sword. Yeah.
Or with Metroid, where something happens and all of a sudden you can't use your Metroid ball anymore. It's like, well,
Right,
why?
right.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Yeah. But
Well, my chip fell out or something. It's like,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
or and like in Metroid Dread, which is an awesome game, but the boss at the beginning, you fight it and you have all your powers, and it drains you of all your powers basically as it almost
Right.
kills you, and then okay,
Makes
all right,
sense.
I get it.
Yeah.
But man, I could talk so much more about this game. It's so good, but you know what's funny? The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, can we wrap this up so I can go play
Yeah, it's
this
okay.
game? I'm loving it, and we didn't even get into things like blacksmithing, which is a really you like that one, right, Kyle? That
I do,
like
yeah.
that.
I think the minigame is very cool, and like whenever you make a really good, like I'm using a sword that I made, or I
Yeah.
was. I guess I picked up a better one off a bandit, but like I was using that for a while, and like it was just better than like that. If you found that weapon in the world, like the one I made was just better. Like it just
Yeah.
had better stats and stuff like that. And I love that. Your weapons can break, and you have to take it to like a stone, and you have to make sure it's sharp all the time, and like there's just it's immersive sim, man. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. Like it's like the game wants it to be so realistic almost to a point of not fun, but it's fun always, you know, like
Yep.
again, like if you don't sleep, like your character gets like drowsy. If you don't eat, your character like doesn't heal as quick. Like you're doing a lot of things that are like
Yep.
simmy.
And there's potions for almost all that. Like you can take a potion that allows you
Yep.
to be okay without sleep, or you can take a potion that lets you see in the dark.
Where you get a perk, like there's 275 perks in this game that do something specific for your character.
Yeah.
275, you know.
Like
so
one of
it's
the
like, and they
blacksmithing
all,
ones-
and that can help with that stuff too. You get a better stomach. You get hungry.
Yep.
You know, less. You know, like it's just
One of the
so cool.
blacksmithing ones means if you sharpen your own weapon, if you have this perk on, then if you sharpen it up to 100%, then it'll have a plus 10 slash damage until it falls below 80% again. Basically, it's like keep your weapon sharp and you'll have a damage bonus.
Also very Witcher.
Yeah,
Stop at that stone.
that's
Get it
right.
sharp. Get that buff.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the fast travel thing you were mentioning earlier, Dragon's Dogma. Speaking of again, that happened a lot when you did fast travel,
Oh, you're right.
or when
Yeah.
you took the cart, right? You
Yeah,
could
yeah,
take
yeah.
the
The
cart
card could
somewhere.
get attacked by like a bandits or a
Yeah,
boss or
yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
So
It's very much like that. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of like things that they kind of clearly took inspiration from, and I'm sure Dragon's Dogma's not the first by any means to do that, but
No,
it's
but dangerous open worlds that and it does
yeah,
feel dangerous when you're out at night in this game. I do feel like exposed and like, oh, anyone could just, like
yeah,
I could lose everything and because you just can't save whenever you want, like the possibility of losing progress is hot, like it happens.
yeah,
Like, and most reviews you hear, everybody was like, there was a point in the game where I just kind of lost 45 minutes because, I
Yeah.
didn't take a save potion, or I didn't do this. But it's cool. You can make those save potions. You can take them. You can save right there. You get a buff for drinking them. Like it is.
Yep.
There's all these. It's just system after system after system. It's just so crazy
Yeah.
how much is going on in that game.
To be clear, you can save and quit anytime.
Yep. Yeah, you
it's
can.
like a restore state. So anytime you need to stop, like you can be out in the middle of nowhere near a bed.
That.
You can be all out of your saving drink, and just save and quit and then come back to the game.
Yeah. I know they don't want you to do that. I know it's kind of like, oh, you're getting around something here, but I use it all the time. I don't care.
It's a great way to like, I got to come back and play later.
there.
Now, maybe you can. I don't think you can reload that can you reload that save point? Let's say that you save and quit, jump back in the game, and then try a fight and lose, but you really want to win it. I don't think you can reload that save state. Can you? Maybe you can.
I think you can, but that save state gets overwritten the next time you save and quit. There's only one save and quit save slot.
Okay, gotcha.
I think.
So you can't make a bunch of those for like
no
decisions and stuff like
yeah,
that. Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, you'll have to actually drink a Slav or whatever those save Slav or whatever.
Yeah, it starts out with weak ones where any of them save your game, but if you make better potions with alchemy, it might heal you for more or make you less sleepy or whatever. Like it gives you all these kind of buffs and stuff. It's just, man, it is a good time. There's so much about it that is clunky that when you get into the groove, it feels less clunky and more immersive sim. So, for example, even getting a crossbow out and loading it to shoot it, I'm like, dude, this game is so freaking slow. Then I thought about it.
It's painfully realistic.
Yeah,
where it's
you
like
pull the crossbow off. You actually like have to use two hands to pull that thing, and then like it takes a while. Now,
it's a long time.
If your marksmanship goes up and your agility goes up, all that starts to get faster.
Yeah,
but it starts out really slow.
And they are like one-hit kills. So if you nail someone with it, like they're probably gonna die.
Kyle, I just now learned that you can coat these things in poison. I didn't know this.
That's sick. That's awesome.
Like you can use the lullaby potion that you do for this bull quest. You can use it as a sleep dart. And
that's awesome.
I had no idea. I was like, why was I not paying attention? Because it's actually in its own section called poisons. I was like, wait, why is it called poisons? Yeah, you can.
What was this?
What's this about?
Sick.
So I actually looked it up, and I was watching this guy. He didn't even have that great of stats, but he would just coat. He got this really good poison, I guess, with alchemy, and then he would just shoot an enemy and then just hold his shield up and just wait for them to fall over. And he said, and it happened pretty fast too. I was like, okay, yeah, this game's crazy. Anyway, sorry, we could keep talking about it forever, but
I know I'm loving it's such a good game. Yeah, this is another one where it's just like, oh, shocking that something like this came out right at the start of the year, and like it will be like the, I don't know, the kind of the thing to beat, until
so far it is.
Out,
This is why I'm not sure how much I can commit to playing Avowed, because it's got too many similarities as a first-person, in-depth RPG with lots of customization and characters and that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm gonna give it a whirl, but we'll see how far I actually commit to it. Because I'm pretty sure this is the first main quest that I still haven't done in Kingdom Come.
Same, yeah. I'm still working on doing the first quest of the game, and I'm almost 20 hours in. You're 27 hours. Like it's insane.
Oh, that's funny because I thought that was a problem when I played Tears of the Kingdom, huh? Guys? Huh?
Well, Dan, that's different because
it's different. I'm not gonna explain why. It's just different.
It's just different because that's not how we did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
sure.
Even that's how you play Skyrim too. Like when you start Skyrim, if the very first thing you go do is the main mission in that game, you're playing that game wrong.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
But I definitely
you go to the main town, and then you get the dragon thing, and then you go and do whatever.
Yeah, you get your first shout, and then that's it.
Yeah.
By the way, getting the dog is a huge help. That dog is awesome.
Yeah, he's cool. I haven't gotten him yet, but I know that he can like bite an enemy like mid-fight and like distract them while you give him a good
he'll latch
stab.
onto their arm, and then if they had a shield up, it'll spin them around, and you can just whack away at their unshielded area. Like it's
He also
great.
sniffs out like items in the area and stuff like that too. I think. Yeah.
You can upgrade his
That's
skills to
pretty-
where you can like send him to go find stuff,
He's gonna be my best pal when I get him. I tell
and then
you.
you can just stop and pet him
Alright.
whenever.
You have to.
Can he die like permanently?
No, he
though?
runs away. Once his health goes low enough, he runs away.
Okay.
But you can upgrade
Okay.
you can upgrade a perk that'll make him come back sooner.
I'm sure towards the end of the
Okay.
game, he's probably gonna die though. If I had to take a guess.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's gonna be devastating.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that. He
Just
better
don't
be
finish the
an
game. Just do what
invincible
we're
boy.
doing and never finish the game.
Yeah, just never progress. Yeah. I really do need to buckle down. Just maybe move that.
I think I
story
need
up
to move
little
that
bit.
forward a little bit too. Last thing I'll say real quick, I saw a podcast. I forget the name of it. So sorry, but it had the actor who plays Henry, the main character.
Mhm.
He, like, you know how sometimes when a character model like, oh, that kind of looks like him. He
Yeah.
literally looks just like.
They completely scanned him 100%. It looks like a clone. Yeah.
It's crazy. He was just
The
talking.
other guy too, Hans. Like
Okay, same
they just
thing.
both look, yeah, same exact thing. Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy because
Yeah,
when you
their
see,
also their banter is so hilarious. Like they just
Oh, yeah.
like in the first game they don't like each other, and that's kind of like still apparent here where they're like
well, things come out in the second one too. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm sure there's ways that they reconnect, but like things don't
Yeah.
go. Like, it starts great and then it goes downhill.
yeah.
Unless I did it poorly.
No, that's right.
I think no matter what you do, it goes that way.
Yeah, you separate no matter what. Yeah,
Okay.
that's how the game kicks off.
Yeah.
But
Oh, man.
yeah,
So
in the first
good.
game it's set up that he's like a spoiled brat, and like
Mhm.
you just kind of like tolerate him,
Right.
for the most
It's
part.
funny. This game has an opening sequence where you play as someone else who I actually don't recognize. But I guess
Yeah, I don't either.
yeah,
Yeah.
they introduce him like he's someone you should recognize. I don't know. It's interesting. They set it up and then they jump back to where you take over weeks or whatever it is before. And I have totally forgotten about. Oh, I need to work up to this big story moment that's going to happen.
Yeah,
there.
which is funny because I've already spent weeks in the game,
Me
so
too.
they're already wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Totally.
I do like how there's not a time limit because like it's like he even asks, he's like, when's the marriage? He's like, don't worry about that. It's a ways off. I'm like,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Don't create this like fake sense of like urgency.
That's
for me,
right.
please.
Yeah. Let me keep blacksmithing and alchemying forever
Yeah.
and ever.
Just at night. Just
By the way,
like,
pickpocketing is hard. That's a skill you have to build up to.
It's
hard.
very hard, and lockpicking is still kind of weird too. It was pretty.
If you're
weird
playing
first
it on PC, using a mouse makes that lockpicking astronomically easier
game. Oh, okay.
because you're not using the
okay.
right stick to stay in a certain spot as it spins. You're just using the mouse, and it's just so much
that's
easier.
nice. That is
Lockpicking
easier.
could be kind of it could be a little fickle.
Yeah.
Depending on the
Yeah.
game. So.
The first game it was classically like really bad. I know they've made some changes in this one, but it's still kind of tough.
Well, Kyle's
On
being a
controller
good boy. He
specifically.
doesn't do a lot of lockpicking.
I don't. I was like, I don't need that stuff. I'm a noble knight.
I'm a good
Talking
boy.
away. I'm a good boy.
I just want to get knighted so bad.
I get it. Well, listen, thank you guys for chatting. Thanks for this. I think the new format hopefully worked, but very excited about all the stuff that was announced from Sony State of Play. There's so many good things on the way. And if you have not tried Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I highly recommend it. Also, Avowed on Game Pass, another great experience. So lots of good stuff to do out there with your gaming. So thank you guys for watching, listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.